Moun sa wap gade la, c'est moun kay yo boule. Kote mzou gen n'importe plus passe 100 à 200 kay ki boule. So, moun sa obligé venir là.
After touring the destruction, Cherizier took us to a Delma 4 park and gymnasium, where now homeless victims from Lower Delma and Non-Bawozi are living.
Moun sa sorti nan Bawozi, nan Delma 4 la, kote ke moun sa yo te gen ti kayo, mais Jean Proverbe Créole l'a dit, hein, la caille rete la caille. Même les autres vivent dans ti kayo, c'était 40 ans, c'est là yo te kon manger et la mari yo te ye, et la petite yo te ye, et la petite yo te ye.
Numerous victims described the attack to us.
Pendant un jour dimanche, m'lever, m'gen 3 petits moun.
Nous et puis même côté nous dans caille là, à peine nous fait fin faut manger n'a manger. Moi chita gros jour dimanche. Moi prend petit soupe. Moi 10 garçons entre sur moi à zam.
Lever m'a fait manger pour yo et quand ça méchant yo entré sous nous, yo tiré sous nous.
Et puis là nous garder nous il envahit sous nous, il a tiré sous nous et puis nous tout prend courir sujet. Nèg belé ensemble nèg Saint-Martin nèg Riel Maya yo porté sous nous yo assassiné nous yo boule kay 6 juin yo boule kay moi m'a sauvé rien yo mam gaz dans yeux yo me dit fè sou moi dans kay la m'a pré lan dans kay la m'a ka sorti m'a ka wè côté pour sorti son monde qui passe le traîner il mettait me dehors
en seul place kay nous gain je me dit c'est la donne. Je ne vais pas dire que je vais des ensemble avec mais quand je m'emboule, tout commencement me perdu.
Mais on mettait me dehors, yo levé me mettre sous dos, yo dit il a mené dans 90. On dit Jésus connaît parce que m'pa connait rien dans 90. Et c'est Jésus connaît ça la fait moi. Donc là me fait 3 jours dehors. 3 jours me fait dehors puis à terre mais tout ça on te prend dans mais ça on te prend. Pour bien comme ça on te prend. Puis à terre.
C'est avec ou avec?
Oui, mais avec. Avec les cailles boule la pourri. La courir avec moi pour manquer mourir. Manquer mourir parce que ça fait ça me va pour monter pas pour descendre.
Les bas là me sorti avec les venir toute bagaille ti moun yo boule. Ma petite dans la rue, ma petite vote dans la rue, ma aucun secours.
Juge dit à mal 26 ppm élémentaire m'pa ka entrer à nos jours la caille moi là. Tout rat ben boule.
On est là même là, elle vient boule caille là pas sauver rien, dans caille là tout bail boule net tout rat petit, tout boule m'pa sauver rien.
Several of the victims directly credited Jimmy Cherizier and his men for protecting them and providing food and shelter.
On a la même monsieur Babé dit comme ça pour ouvrir là pour nous nous côté pour nous dormir.
Là me vinn dormir là, là jusqu'à ce que pour bon Dieu ouais tout ça la faire.
Là nous garder nous paraître là, on va pas quitter nous dans la rue, on va prochain ouvert là au bas nous pour nous entrer. Mais jour dans la rue nous te dormi. Ça après nous vinn là. On va nous entrer.
Pour nous sommes finis comme on avait monsieur Chipi que c'est pas avec nous là on petit sac diri bon petit bagage mbouyi ba yo.
C'est un monsieur barbecue élite dans zone vini gen côté l'aller, yo kon ba ni manger.
C'est grâce à déporter avec monsieur barbecue qu'a fait vivre.
M'be dit 3 petites dans zone là. Yo trouvé pour moi. Premier am vinn faire le premier ou deuxième, troisième non si c'est pas grand merci babé. Et j'étais au tap jeté lui même qui te répond ni enterrer petite là pour moi.
Aidez-nous non. Nous pas gester pour nous aider nous ba nous pour nous chercher pour nous. Seul merci a pas responsable en population.
Hello, Abby.
Hello. How's it going?
Well, I just had a little bit of a last minute knock on the door just before going live, so getting me a little bit anxious.
Yeah.
It's all good. Just a little thing. How are you?
I'm okay. My on-air light is on outside of my door, but that won't stop my mother from opening it regardless.
Just the neighbors or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah. Hello, everyone on YouTube and X, the Twitter.
Thank you for watching. Hope everyone's been doing well, all things considered. Hope we're happy to keep hearing about Haiti. I know it's I don't know how about who's watching exactly out there, but for in the independent media, there's been a bit of a focus on it today, this week. So
Yeah, this week, which I'm glad because, like, we toil with what to talk about. We still haven't done Congo; that's still on our list, but people weren't really talking about Haiti, so we chose Haiti, and thank goodness this week people actually started talking about Haiti. So I was happy to see it, and hi Tasmit, one of our comrades, and they also said I can't believe they were letting them share their stories, so they fixed it to can't. So it's a lot of that sentiment out there that Haiti isn't getting the attention that it deserves and that it needs, but we are going to give it that attention tonight, right, Michael?
yeah. Well, there's
I'm
also been enough things changing on the ground that there's some developments worth reporting on, especially with
Yeah,
all the misinformation that comes out with these types of developments. It's important to try and keep that record straight. So,
exactly. And I'm from Louisiana, born and raised. I didn't stay there. I was kind of part of the brain drain. I left and went to various cities. Ended up in New York City most of my time. But I am back in Louisiana. Haiti's always been near and dear to my heart. So this is going to be very emotional for me.
I might be
But
a little bit
mhm,
far out from such a connection from Haiti, but I grew up with in the French immersion program in Canada, so there's that French culture influence on me. So I do feel a bit of a not so much of a I feel more of an ability to have some solidarity because I can sort of understand some of the language and culture a bit from the French perspective, the colonialist.
right, right. Because so people in Canada, they came from like Arcadia. Um, I forgot what it meant. I used to know all of this history, but in Louisiana, a lot of the Creole people, so that's like Haitian, Native American, and French influence. That's the Creoles. They're mostly in New Orleans, and the Cajuns, which is like Arcadia in French, so it's European French. They're in Lafayette. So I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the capital city. So 45 minutes away from us is in one direction is New Orleans, and 45 minutes away in the other direction is Lafayette. And they are both wonderful cities to visit and have a great time. They're really great people there, the natives, very warm, friendly people. And in I remember one time I was in New York City and I said, "Oh, I love those coon asses." So we're talking about Lafayette, and somebody looked at me like, "I can't believe she just said that," because that term "coon" is a separate derogatory term for like a Sambo, a black person, but a coon ass it means like a raccoon ass person, like a person who likes to hunt and they like to, they're in they're outside hunting and fishing and in the swamps. And those are like Cajun people. They don't take that as a derogatory term. So I didn't know to give a disclaimer about that when I said it. So anyway, that's just one of my stories. So we have 29 people on Twitter, 3 people on YouTube. Go ahead and smash the like button, share, subscribe if you haven't, and we really appreciate every button that's pushed because that's how we overcome that algorithm that they like to punish us with. I just want to mention that I contacted one of my friends I went to high school with. She's an expat. She lives in Toulouse, France, to just see if she had any insight or could join us today. she connected me with a really good friend of hers, and now over the days we become really good friends. And she wants to come on the show, but she couldn't make it today. She's an opera singer, and she had a performance today. But she would like to come join at some point. I think maybe I'll bring on my new podcast that I just started. Yay!
Yeah, I should,
Which,
I should make an effort to keep some of my French language skills alive. I haven't had much of a chance to use them, so maybe it'd be good to speak to some French person.
Would that be great? Yeah, then I can have you on too and see if you could brush up on your French.
Just at least a bit.
Yes. So I'm gonna just start with a brief history of Haiti, how it came about. Somebody says Haiti. Tasmit says Haiti is one of those topics most people don't know and seems like secondary to Ukraine or Israel. That's true, and the Congo, and there's so many like there. Ukraine and Israel are on people's mind because those are Western countries that are, in devastation right now. So, of course, when you're living in a society that is dominated by colonialism and Western influence, those are going to be the things that take a priority over everything else. But we're not going to do that here, right, Michael? We're going to give everyone the attention that they deserve.
Right.
And
the thing with the smaller countries is people tend to treat them as if they just don't matter in the grand scheme of things. That if we're going to talk about geopolitics, if you're not talking about the big bad 3 or 4 at the top that are dominating everything, you're not really talking about anything worth talking about. But then people are really forgetting some very obvious things, like Yemen's a good example, how a very well-placed a country in the right place at the right time can do certain things that can affect the entire world, like interrupting a trade route, causing people to have to detour all the way around Africa, sort of thing. And if you look at the geography of Haiti, they are very well placed as far as the trade routes of the Caribbean there.
The Panama Canal, yes, we're going to get into all of that, right. So I just wanted to acknowledge Tasmik and say thank you very much for the congratulations on my my podcast. So I can just rant because I don't like to write; I like to talk. So it'll be like my journal. Anytime I just want to get on and say something for 10 minutes or so. So look forward to that, you guys. The channel is Abby Do. So yeah, and then Rondo, peace, fam, and all you other comrades out there that haven't said anything yet, but I know you will because you guys are not a quiet crowd. So
well, there might be the bulk watching on Twitter who maybe aren't as willing to comment for whatever reason on Twitter, because that's not really the medium where people seem to be willing to do that. I don't know why, but
that's true. It happens more on YouTube, the live chat. That's true. And
we'd be happy to hear from anyone who's listening on Twitter. If you'd want to pop on over to the YouTube, leave a comment. It'd be nice to hear from you.
Yep. So I'm going to play now. I wanted to play this from Conan O'Brien. Remember him? It's like a little brief history lesson, but it's really disingenuous. It's more like a way to shit on Trump, while also giving you a brief history lesson on Haiti, and then some feel-good stories about the Haitian people. So let's get into it and see what happens. Here we go.
When I heard President Trump had insulted Haiti in the Oval Office,
the president asked, quote, "Why are we having all these people from shithole countries come here?" referring to African countries. And Haiti, the president then went on to talk about how they needed to bring in more people from places like Norway.
Now, I have no idea
what the president has against the people of Haiti. But if the president doesn't like them, they must be lovely people. They really, I mean, it's just.
A day later, I was exchanging dollars for Haitian good, and before I knew it, I was in Port-au-Prince receiving a warm welcome and a bottle of rum. Now, this will last me this morning. To understand today's Haiti, you need to know its history. This should only take a minute and 23 seconds. Before the Europeans came, Haiti was inhabited by the indigenous Taino people. Then the Spanish arrived, conquered the Tainos, plundered their gold, and brought in thousands of African slaves. Then the French did the same thing when they took over. Then in 1804, Toussaint Louverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines led a slave revolt, defeated the French, and the nation of Haiti was born. But France...
Okay. Louverture. Well, first I'd like to say the colonizers never forgave Haiti for revolting and winning their sovereignty. They never forgave them for that. And they've been making them pay ever since. And because this is a Haitian history lesson, he kind of left out the fact that Toussaint Louverture also freed the Dominican Republic and the Spaniards. From the Spaniards, rather. Back then it was called Santo Domingo. But Louverture he didn't initiate the slave revolt, but he did finish it. He
did get betrayed. I was reading he got betrayed by someone and to the French, and that's why Desalier. No, I get the names mixed up. Dessalines. The other guy became the president, the emperor.
Yes. So he had an interesting life because like the colonizers respected. Well, respect isn't the right word. They feared him. That's probably a better term. And that fear manifested respect, but they secretly despised him. And of course, the freed enslaved Africans respected him. But eventually, the French tried to make one last ditch effort to regain control, which also failed. But at that time, Toussaint Louverture did agree to step down as long as slavery was permanently abolished. So he ended up getting tricked by Napoleon Bonaparte. I believe this is what you're talking about, to attend some type of convention or benefit or something, where he was apprehended. He was put into solitary confinement, and he mistreatment, malnourishment in 1803. So unfortunately, he wasn't alive to see Haiti born completely independent from colonial rule, which, technically it never was completely independent from colonial rule and still isn't to this day, but to be a quote unquote sovereign nation. And and I say that, independent very loosely because Haiti was made to pay France reparations, which we'll discuss in more detail later. But just the fact that I said that out loud should be repulsive to anyone listening.
Yeah, they were made to pay reparations for gaining their independence.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so let me move on.
France demanded reparations, and Haiti had to pay them 91 million gold francs. All the while, the poor black majority fought with the small but wealthy mulattoes, dividing Haiti, until in 1915 the U.S. invaded to impose stability, while also removing the gold from the Haitian National Bank. When the U.S. withdrew, Haiti was led by military juntas and mostly corrupt presidents, including Francois Papa Doc Duvalier and his son Jean-Claude Baby Doc Duvalier, who for the next 30 years siphoned hundreds of millions of dollars out of the country. And were followed by a military government, more appointed presidents, military rulers, an elected leader, more military rulers, another election.
Okay. I want to point out
you do it like that, you tend to gloss over the actual story, right? You go,
yeah,
this
exactly.
bad guy, this bad guy, and then
exactly. And Conan O'Brien. That's why I prefaced that when I said this is a brief history, but this is not. This is in no way. Well, I'll mention it later. Okay, so notice all the puppet masters. It was basically puppet master, puppet master, puppet master. This guy is Jean-Bertrand Aristide. He was an elected leader. So France couldn't control him. So they got they ousted him and had another puppet installed. The people loved him so much they elected him again, which caused a coup d'etat. That was in 2004. Okay, and Aristide was eventually exiled from the country, and we'll also get into that more later as well. I'm just trying to breeze through this this fake whitewash down view of the history of Haiti, and then we'll get into the juicy stuff.
Set a bit of context, right?
Yeah. And notice I'm gonna notice the UN peacekeeping force that he discusses too, because we'll also talk about that in more detail later. But here we go.
Election, then a coup d'etat, a UN peacekeeping force, and more contested elections. Then a devastating earthquake which killed hundreds of thousands of Haitians, followed by food shortages, an outbreak of cholera, and devastation by hurricanes. In short, the people of Haiti have been dealt the worst hand in the Western Hemisphere. But their spirit remains intact. I couldn't wait to get outside and meet these wonderful people.
Okay. I'm having, just so everyone knows, every time I play something, I have to take my earbud out and then I have to put it back in to talk to you. So, Noteworthy has a lot of tech issues that we try to get through. The buffering has stopped, so thank goodness for that. But now I have to deal with this. So since I have to deal with it, I guess you have to deal with it too. But yeah, Michael, you see how you mentioned how he just went through all those puppet masters super fast. Now look how he glossed over the details about what France and the U.S. well, and all those Western countries did to the Haitian people after the earthquake. Like he just glossed over that really quickly, and now he's about to jump into some feel good stories about his interactions with the Haitian people. So
let me get to know these people, right? And then how is he gonna get any phone numbers? He's gonna come back and he's gonna talk to these people again. He's gonna go back home to wherever he goes. I forget. I don't know where he lives, in California or whatever. But then, yeah, never gonna remember a single name, right?
Right. And I'm not gonna play it because it's disgusting to me. Because he takes every chance he gets while he's talking to the people to invoke Trump's name, which was really the purpose of this expose in the first place, to me. So why would I give him more than he more than he needs to be given? But let me just see what people are saying. Rondo says France flipped the payment of reparations on its head. Yes. Well, I mean, America did the same. They paid their slave owners, the American government.
Yeah, I was reading that the Rothschilds were big into getting reparations from the British government for slavery. It was the biggest the bailout in history until the 2008, and the bailout was for paying reparations to slave owners.
So. Yeah. See, there's so many people on X. There's only 3 people on YouTube, so that's why I'm seeing and Rondo, you better use that to your advantage. Get it in. Look, he says they diminish Haiti because of its revolutionary history. Yes, they will never forgive them for whooping their asses.
Example, they inspired everyone. They're
exactly.
The first so
that's right. They sure did. Yes, France has been incredibly trifling when it comes. Well, not just when it comes to Haiti. They've been incredibly trifling when it comes to those 14 African countries that they still make pay colonial taxes. We'll probably talk about that a little bit too. And then one last one before I keep going. France needs to pay Haiti, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. Yes. Okay, we're going to get into that. Yes, it's like 14 of them, and they even owe Mali even more than that because they made Mali out. They made Mali an example to ensure that all those other countries wouldn't tell them that they weren't paying their colonial taxes anymore. They really did them really dirty. So yeah. And last one, Conan won't talk about Gilbert. Yeah, and if you do talk about him, you're anti-Semitic. I've been seeing that. So
Yep.
for those of you who don't know Gilbert Biggio, is it Biggio? He is the only billionaire on the in the country of Haiti,
Well,
and he
I found an article that talks about there's an Irish billionaire who makes his billions in Haiti, but he lives probably
but he doesn't live right. Yeah,
anyway.
but I mean that lives
Yeah.
on the island.
Hmm.
So let me go into this article just to give you a more idea of. So Aristide, why he got sent into exile because he was demanding his reparations. He's such a handsome man. And I really wasn't going to talk too much about it. I just wanted you to see the headline and just ask, like, doesn't that seem familiar? Because everybody's taught those feel good parts about MLK Jr., the judging people and the content of their character, not on the color of their skin. But they don't teach us the MLK Jr. that also said, we're coming for our check. And he was in the process of organizing a massive rally for reparations. And shortly after he gave that speech about demanding reparations, for the American descendants of slaves, that's when he was murdered.
Yeah, and all this stuff about the Haitian criminal gangs, they're disobeying the law, of course, right? But this is MLK's got that quote about
Right.
Unjust law is no law at all. So I think
Mhm.
Haitians really exemplify this, the praxis on the ground. So
Exactly. And Mount Rondo is like Francis trifling in general, but just to give you an idea of what they did, I believe it was Mali. They were the first country to refuse to pay the colonial tax, which is basically reparations with a different name, for them getting their sovereignty away from France. And so France went in, toppled all the buildings, they killed the livestock, they burned the produce, and they made an example out of them. And that made the other countries decide to just go ahead and continue suffering. Continue to pay, else suffer the same fate. So that's really messed up. Really messed up. Um, so now, do you want to go ahead and go into your history of Haiti, because I want to talk about the Clintons so bad. But let's keep the focus on the beauty of Haiti for a moment, and then we'll get back to that.
yeah, the first thing I was going to start with was the Haiti independence debt. So I know this is a bit maybe half-assed to me pulling up a Wikipedia article, but I kind of like with when some of these things are common knowledge, that it serves to be reminded of things that we're not really disputing, that are obvious, that should be in mind when we're talking about a Haitian solution for Haiti and not an imposed solution from outside. There's just obvious things that need to be kind of reiterated, if not relitigated or whatever. So the Haiti indemnity controversy involves an 1825 agreement between Haiti and France that included France demanding an indemnity of 100 million francs to be paid by Haiti in claims over property, including Haitian slaves, that was lost through the Haitian Revolution in return for diplomatic recognition, with the debt removing 21 billion from the Haitian economy. First annual payment alone was 6 times Haiti's annual revenue. The payment was later reduced to 90 million francs in 1838, equivalent to 32 billion in 2022, with Haiti paying about 112 million francs in total. Over the 122 years between 1825 and 1947, the debt severely hampered Haitian economic development, as payments of interest and down payments totaled a significant share of Haitian GDP, constraining the use of domestic financial funds for infrastructure and public services. So let's not forget that Haiti, as ridiculous as it was to expect them to have to pay this debt, they have actually paid it. They've paid in full for whatever it is you think that they've done. And then I guess what they have done, maybe it's worth not trying to become whitewashers of history ourselves. There was a bit of what you might call a genocide of French by the Haitians when they achieved their independence in early 1800s, and there's no doubt denying that that was an atrocious and regrettable thing. But then for Haiti to pay for those deaths 100 times, 200,000
Over.
times over is unacceptable. So point of learning from history is to not repeat the same lessons, right? So France's demand of payments in exchange for recognizing Haiti's independence was delivered to the country by several French warships in 1825, 21 years after Haiti's declaration of independence in 1804. So they may have gained their independence, but they were the revenge that French had in mind was to take it from them, to teach them a lesson, right? So that you can see that they've had their independence threatened ever since, and they have not backed down. They've been brave, and they have fought ever
Mm.
since. And I think they're getting close to getting it, as long as people, don't
I
betray
hope
them.
so. Yes. And we have to be just as vigilant about Haiti as we are about the Palestinians, as we are about people in the Congo. Like, I know it's a lot because they're terrorizing people all over the world, but we need to keep our foot on their neck and let them know that we are paying attention and we will not stand for it as
Yeah.
best as much as we can do, right?
Yeah.
Um,
As far
so
as constraining the use of domestic funds for infrastructure, that's going on in Canada here too, where we're paying. I just learned how much we're paying interest on the debt that we have on our budget. So we may not have this bloody history, but we have the same situation, and we're supposedly benefiting from these imperialist gains that we're doing to these countries. So it's not even going to the people in the West. It's going to these small handful of people, right? And for what? So that we can all be party to genocide. There's no need to participate anymore. We can say no. So
we can say
anyway,
no.
yeah.
And I just want to give a quick shout out to Stay Balanced. He did an expose on Haiti last week for his podcast Beyond the Arc. So it was very informative. I really enjoyed watching it. So if you guys, when you have time and you haven't seen it, go back in and watch that, please. And to our Twitter family, I know you can't comment, but we see you out there.
So let me just finish what I got here. So
Sure.
due to the unrealistic demands pushed by France, Haiti was forced to take large loans from French bank Crédit Industriel et Commercial, enriching the bank's shareholders. Though France received its last indemnity payment in 1888, the government of the United States funded the acquisition of Haiti's treasury in 1911 in order to receive interest payments related to the indemnity. In 1922, the rest of Haiti's debt to France was moved to be paid to American investors. It took until 1947, about 122 years, for Haiti to finally pay off all the associated interest to the National City Bank of New York, now Citibank. So interesting timing there, 1947. So they're paying all this money to the Americans, and then where is it going? Where is it going next? Funding a NACPA somewhere, In 2016, the Parliament of France repealed the 1825 Ordinance of Charles X, though no reparations have been offered by France. These debts have been denounced by some historians and activists as guilty of Haiti's poverty today and a case of odious debt, although others point to the lack of growth relative to the neighboring Dominican Republic, even since the debt was repaid as evidence for other factors. So the term of odious debt is worth taking note of. It's a legal theory says that the national debt incurred by a despotic regime should not be enforceable. Just in case anyone's wondering about debts to someone like Israel, right?
That was so interesting what you said about where's that money going? Is it perhaps going to Nakbas?
Yeah.
Considering the overseer in Haiti, who knows?
Yeah.
And they did, and then about that debt is unenforceable. Some of their debt was forgiven, but the only reason it was forgiven is because it was so unsurmountable. They would never they'd never be able to pay it, even if they wanted to.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought of it. I meant to. You're reminding me now that we're talking about it. I meant to look up the question of does Haiti owe money to the International Monetary Fund right now? And I'm willing, if I had to bet on it, I'd say yeah.
I think I have. I think I might have went through some of that.
Has
But
agreed to cancel Haiti's 268 million debt. That's what comes up.
It was a few organizations that are in countries, and some of they agreed to forgive some of it, or a bulk of it.
But what's the cost
that's
of
still,
the forgiveness?
I mean, it still didn't do anything. Like
Yeah,
it didn't
268
change
million.
anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was that slide. The next one was the United States occupation of Haiti. Began on July 28th, 1915, right in the middle of World War I, when 330 U.S. Marines landed at Port-au-Prince after the Citibank of New York convinced the President of the United States, Woodrow Wilson, to take control of Haiti's political and financial interests. I find that a little bit interesting that it says that plainly and clearly right on the Wikipedia page, that the bank said, go take it over, and the president was like, sure. The July 1915 invasion took place following years of socioeconomic instability within Haiti that culminated with the lynching of President of Haiti Villebrand Guillaume Sam by a mob angered by his decision to order the executions of political prisoners. Now, we often, when you hear of someone being lynched by a mob, you have automatic sympathy, but then if it's the certain characters, if you read their background, you might understand some of the anger, to put it that way. The invasion and subsequent occupation was promoted by growing American business interests in Haiti, especially the Citibank of New York, which had withheld funds from Haiti and paid rebels to destabilize the nation through the Bank of the Republic of Haiti with an aim at inducing American intervention. During the occupation, Haiti had 3 presidents, while the United States ruled as a military regime through martial law led by Marines and the gendarmerie. 2 major rebellions against the occupation occurred, resulting in several thousand Haitians killed, and numerous human rights violations, including torture and summary executions by Marines and the gendarmerie of Haiti. A corvée system of forced labor was used by the United States for infrastructure projects that resulted in hundreds to thousands of deaths. So I have this in red because this reminded me of a parallel with this next slide of mine about the slavery in Palestine, because just at the beginning of the very early stages of Zionism just happens to coincide with the ending of slavery, because there was kind of different countries made it illegal at different periods, but then it's sort of by the late 1890s was kind of when it was formally ended for the most part everywhere. However, the former slaves and their children still continued to work for their former enslavers and were reported to still live in a state of de facto servitude in the 1930s. So we have in Haiti and in Palestine around the same time, we have a system of forced labor. And this says many members of the Black Palestinians minority are descendants of the former slaves. So we've got like slavery, like the blacks, whatever country that they're in, they're treated terribly. And another part of the history of Palestine, people don't really know so much about the Mizrahim Jews that are the ones that were indigenous to Israel before the Zionists, the Ashkenazi, got there. And then the other Jews from other Arab, Middle Eastern countries. And they were when Israel was
African?
founded, yeah, and from Ethiopian Jews and Yemenis Jews, right? When Israel was founded and they were kind of persecuted by the Arab countries, and some of them fled to Israel or chose to go there. They were then, when they got there, treated as second-class citizens and discriminated from the get-go. So when they say Israel's a place for all Jews, it's kind of was always a lie, right? But
Yeah,
that's
and
it on.
I do want to point out, like, Middle East is a modern construct, so all that was considered North Africa. So I just wanted to point that out.
Right. So anyway, finishing up here, under the occupation, most Haitians continued to live in poverty, while American personnel were well compensated. The American occupation ended the constitutional ban on foreign ownership of land, which had existed since the foundation of Haiti. That's a bit of an important note right there. So ever since the Haitians had achieved their independence, they made it a rule that no foreigners were allowed to own their land. And then the Americans didn't really like these kinds of rules, so they occupied them, changed the law on them, and then they've had foreigners owning their land and means of production ever since. So the occupation ended on August 1st, 1934, after Roosevelt reaffirmed an August 1933 disengagement agreement. The last contingent of Marines departed on August 15th, 1934, after a formal transfer of authority to the American-created Gendarmerie of Haiti. So they may have left, but they left the people in charge that they wanted to, much like everyone worries about Russia wants to do to Ukraine. So.
Wow, that that just kind of made me think of that doctrine of benign neglect that they have here in America. Like, that's just getting off on a tangent. But it's supposed to be to not do anything for Black people, even though they make it seem like they will. It's called, like, the doctrine of benign neglect. If you guys want to Google that, we could talk about that another day. But yeah, so do you want to keep going, or should I jump in and get in on some of this action?
Well, I can share another thing, switching gears a bit more to a modern article. Does anyone remember the Pandora Papers? It's been a bit since they were in the news cycle or anything. They're one of those things that I thought should have had a bigger impact than they did, but there's always, people have like amnesia, so the big stories just kind of drop, and then there's another one the next week. So, but this is how U.S. lawyers and bankers aided powerful Haitian tycoons, now sanctioned over corruption by Canada. So, two wealthy Haitians recently sanctioned by Canada owned or had other links to almost 20 companies and trusts created in some of the world's most secretive tax havens, according to documents from the Pandora Papers. So this is from last year, February 7th. So interesting how we've kind of known or allegedly been aware of who's behind the activity all this time ago, and yet things have gotten worse. So what are the imperialist powers doing if they're supposedly such benefactors? So 2 Haitian millionaires accused by Canada of corruption and enabling murderous gangs to run rampant across the long-suffering island nation were helped for years by U.S. lawyers and bankers to buy offshore companies and such luxuries as a multi-million-dollar Ocean View home in Florida records show. In December, the Foreign Ministry of Canada sanctioned Gilbert Bigot, who is often referred to as Haiti's richest person, and insurance magnate Sharif Abdallah, calling them members of the Haitian elite who provide illicit financial and operational support to armed gangs. Together, Abdallah and Bigot owned or had other links to almost 20 companies and trusts created in some of the world's most secretive tax havens, according to documents from the Pandora Papers, a global investigation by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. Lawyers and bankers in Miami provided the men with tax advice, letters of reference, and other services, according to leaked files that form the basis of the 2021 investigation by ICIJ and media partners. Canada has reason to believe these individuals are using their status as high-profile members of the economic elite in Haiti to protect and enable the illegal activities of armed criminal gangs, including through money laundering and other acts of corruption, the government said in announcing the sanctions.
So Michael, can I let me just stop you for a second. So the Pandora Papers, one of our comrades asked, "What is the Pandora Papers?" And I'm caught off guard because I know what they are. It was like leaked papers from, I can't remember if it was the CIA or something. Do you remember the details behind where the Pandora Papers came from?
Well, there are these is an investigation by this international consortium of investigative journalists. So it's similar to like the WikiLeaks things, where you got to kind of protect your sources in order to have this sort of information come out. So then when people say, where did it come from? I may not really have the exact primary source to tell you, but that's kind of
But it was like a whistleblowing leaked document.
Yeah. There's others just like this. Trying to think of, there's the labor files in the UK is another example of this type of thing, where it's just a big the people who do these kinds of things feel like no one's gonna pay attention to what they're up to and reveal it, and then they think if it does get out to the press, they can just do damage control, but that's not really what happens in reality. You know,
They get unalived.
a lot of independent media catches them, and if we do our job well enough, they do pay consequences. They don't always get away with it, But that'd be idealistic to say that we have so much power to catch them and make them pay every time. But the more that they get away with it when we're pointing it out, the more that they demonstrate the fraudulence of the justice system. So we kind of have a bit of a win-win situation when we talk about these people.
We have a conspiracy theory, allegedly, in the chat. So Rondo says Haiti's only billionaire. He's heard that he's the one financing a lot of the chaos in Haiti right now. And I mean, the whole point is chaos and fear. So you could justify the government coming in, someone to come in and save you, right? They're kind of doing that right here in America. They can't do it on that kind of scale because it's America, but they're doing it as best as they can without the violence that they inflict on third world countries. And Rondo said a while back, which I just want to point out, France would be a third world country if it were for Haiti and Africa. So they owe everything to France, to Haiti and Africa. And
yeah, it's a lot like when a corporation gets caught doing so much malfeasance that if they had to pay all their debtors at once, they'd have to declare bankruptcy, and this can happen to a country too. So this is what's happening quite literally to France with everyone in the nations in Africa overthrowing them, and then people like Haiti not being a good little slave, right? So it does cause problems for them. So.
And they're trying to figure out how to solve them. And every time they I mean, it works for a while, and then people rise up and overthrow whatever puppet they have. They get tired of it. Remind you of anything like Hamas?
Yeah.
And then they have to do another coup so they can install their puppet again.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. So I wanted to remind everyone of after the hurricane. I'm thinking of Katrina. I got Louisiana on the brain. After the earthquake, this stuff came out. So this is a PSA, which Obama first announced, by the way. So let's just watch it and remind ourselves of this foolishness.
We Americans are always at our best when we hear and heed the cries of others.
When confronted with massive human suffering, Americans have always stepped up and answered the call to help.
But there's never been anything on the scale of human tragedy in our own hemisphere, like what we're now witnessing in Haiti.
Today, President Clinton and I are joining together to appeal to you with real urgency.
Give now, and lives will be saved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And speaking of billionaires in the chat, I just want to remind you guys of this as well. Now, check out that name at Dom_Lucre, because that's come up again a little later, but not in a good way. But he at least did get this one correct. But he's one of those provocateurs that is. We'll get into it. But
I wonder if it's pronounced lucre, because I think that's like a older, more biblical term for, I forget exactly, but like ill-gotten gains, kind of like thievery type language. So I'll look it up. I guess.
I want to look that up. So I'm in my French mode, and I'm like, look. Okay, so let's watch this.
It's like pronounced more English, like ER. Yeah.
Okay.
Money, especially when regarded as sordid or distasteful or gained in a dishonorable way. Yeah.
Well, that certainly explains a lot about this dude, and we'll see that later. So hold that definition so we can say it again when he comes up again. Okay.
Okay.
And is giving away his billions now with the same determination that he made them in places like Haiti, a country that has less money in the bank than he does. Last month, he brought the First Lady with him for a look at some of the projects his foundation is funding.
This is Mr. George Soros, and he's going to be helping the hospital.
This year, Soros plans to give away almost $500 million around the world.
Everyone knows, of course, Hillary's belief that it takes a village, which only makes sense, after all, in places like Haiti, where she's taken a number of them. Thank you.
No, that was a burn.
You see that guy who Hillary Clinton sitting next to a Catholic priest guy, right? So,
yeah.
I may be a little bit offensive when it comes to Christianity. I know there's a lot of like Haitians and people who are devout Christians and stuff, but when I see the effect that Christianity's had on a place like this, it makes me angry. I'm a Christian, like apostate, I guess you'd call me. I was grown up, raised Christian, and I disagree. I cast off those ideas, right? So I might be a bit biased when it comes to evaluating their generosity or their authenticity, but I feel like there's a lot of sinister activity that the church has played, the sinister role that they've played in all of this, and then when we're paying an extra effort to make sure we're not being offensive, we're kind of letting the bad guy get away. So.
So I'm going to jump ahead because they're talking about it in the chat. So Rondo says, I don't get at Doom Lucre's point. he's the one I saw post the cannibal video. Yes, he is. So, but his point is he is a shill for Trump in the Republican Party. So this makes Hillary Clinton look bad, but he's also trying to downplay. I got to get his
He's
name
maybe
right.
dog whistling or trying to.
Cherizier, like he's dog whistling. You know how they say thug, gangster, deplorable. How they try to dehumanize the people who are actually trying to help the people, so they can prop up the puppets who are trying to actually steal the resources from the people. So that is his. That's his thing. And let me see if I can find it really quickly.
And if his name is Luker there, he is not sure. This is speculation if he's like a evangelical kind of Christian. When they're the angle that they would criticize someone
he
would be
is.
a biblical criticism that these people are sinners and this is part of why they're suffering the way that they are, and that's a way to distort the situation. While it appears that
Okay,
he's
that is
talking
perfect. That's perfect that you just said that, because that is very much him. And I'm going to show you. Let me share my screen. So this is the post that he put up that was taken down. Something in my eye. It was deleted. Breaking news. Here is a disturbing footage of the Haitian cannibal gang eating body parts of one of their victims as he cooks in the fire. The Haiti cannibal gang leader is named Barbecue and is now the most powerful man in Haiti after the Prime Minister Ariel Henry fled. So none of that is true. The video is of a person in Haiti, but not even that region. They are like, the whole point of that video was to scare people, shock and awe. So most likely, the person behind that person's heinous activity is some European colonizer who's trying to sow chaos in the region. His name was Barbecue because his first name is Jimmy. There's a lot of Jimmys in the area, and his parents sold barbecue on the street, so they just called him Jimmy Barbecue to differentiate him from all the other Jimmys in the area.
And you want to talk about nicknames? Talk about the nicknames of the commandos, the Marines in the military of any of the Western countries. I'm sure they got nicknames just as bad, if not worse.
Okay, so Stay Balanced said he lost all. He unfollowed him. I actually do follow him just so I could see. You got to know your enemy. So I do follow him just to see what kind of crazy stuff he is saying. But now let's look at who he is. I guess I gotta. This looks really big for some reason, but so here he is. He was in the U.S. military. Blah 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 blah. Like all this stuff. He's like a rapper or something. He's he owns his own record label, something, whatever, in Atlanta.
You make it. Oh, well, if you make it big, the words will be big, but the pictures will be huge. So it's...
Right. None of that. Look, I'll make it big when I get closer to the bottom. Okay, that's him. So I'll make it big now. All right. He's a political commentator. He's played a significant role in the 2020 presidential elections. He got banned from Instagram. But he claims it's because of the support he was showing for Donald Trump. He has a Facebook group called Win the Win. He apparently is a philanthropist, but I mean, who knows? Because he started a nonprofit Christian missionary, which you were talking about, Michael, called the Citizen Crusade, Its purpose is to provide restoration to the homeless communities in Tennessee. Who knows how much money he funnels through there, because he doesn't seem very genuine. And then he's the state director of another nonprofit organization called Blexit Tennessee. So everybody knows Blexit means black exit from the Democratic Party. So he's basically a person that's supposed to be funneling people into the Republican Party. And oh, I have to show you this. I've got to show you this. So let's go back to his page. You will never guess who he teamed up with. Does anybody want to guess in the chat who this man has teamed up with for a podcast? Any takers? All right, fine.
I don't know
Fine,
this guy.
I'm just going to show you. Where is it?
Don Lemon.
No, not Don Lemon. Oh my gosh. Come on, you guys, you have some time to take a wild guess before. Oh, this is disgusting. Wait, is that Sexy Red? Oh my gosh.
Twitter
Okay,
doing its thing will get you distracted.
Yeah, I have to show this in the. Most rappers are lost politically. They tend to lean conservative. Okay, so I think I'm getting close. There we go. There's a girl.
Silk. I don't know her.
You don't know who that is?
No. Sorry.
You guys in the chat know Diamond and Silk. I know you know Diamond and Silk.
Oh, we talked about Diamond and Silk.
Diamond passed away.
Right.
Diamond passed away, so now Silk needs someone else to cling on to, and she's found a home with Dom LaCroix, or whatever, however you say his name. You're right, Stay Balanced. Oh my God. Right, Todd Smith. Oh my God. I thought that was the funniest thing. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys because I am going to be tuning in for the laughter, for sure. You don't have to. I'll do it. I'll suffer so you guys don't have to, and just bring you the highlights. How about that? Yes, the suspense. I can't imagine, because Diamond was really the brains of the podcast. Silk was more of the like the shucker and the jiver, the one that would be like, mm-hmm, yeah, girl. You know, that theater show. So I wonder if she's doing the same thing to him. Oh, I can't wait to find out. So all right, let me get back into it. Into the Clinton Foundation, if you don't mind, because I have a few things I want to discuss. Starting with this debate. Let me share it. You remember the Clinton Trump debate where he said that they were a criminal enterprise? So let's see.
It's a criminal enterprise, and so many people know it. It's a criminal enterprise. Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. You talk about women and women's rights. So these are people that push gays off buildings. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money. So I'd like to ask you right now, why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly? Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great gesture, because she takes a tremendous amount of money, and you take a look at the people of Haiti. I was at a little Haiti the other day in Florida, and I want to tell you, they hate the Clintons, because what's happened in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation is a disgrace. And you know it, and they know it, and everybody knows
Secretary
Well,
Clinton.
very quickly, we at the Clinton Foundation spend 90% of all the money that is donated on behalf of programs of people around the world and in our own country. I'm very proud of that.
Okay, so notice she says, this is important. The Clinton Foundation spends 90%. Now she's implying that they spend 90% on the people while only 10% is spent on the administration of the foundation, right? But it does get more sinister than that. But notice it's the Clinton Foundation that spends 90%. So I'm just gonna.
They've always got a really clean soundbite that they can deliver with confidence. That if anyone investigates, they'll find it checks out. But if you if you know how to look under the hood,
and we're gonna look under the hood. All right.
We have the highest rating from the watchdogs that follow foundations. And I'd be happy to compare what we do with the Trump Foundation, which took money from other people. And
okay, she's trying to deflect about the Trump Foundation. Okay, well, it's not a my corruption is better than your corruption type of conversation. It's a you need to answer. So I did look up a watchdog foundation. Okay, and here's the scam. The Clinton Bush Haiti Fund was a nonprofit that was created in 2010 to provide aid to victims of the catastrophic earthquake that struck the nation of Haiti in 2010. Although the fund was legally separate from the Clinton Foundation received grants from the Clinton Bush Haiti Fund, and the fund dissolved in 2012. So 2 years. 2 years they took all that money and funneled it, okay? Transferring $10.5 million of its assets to the Inter-American Development Bank, a multinational financial institution that which continued the Clinton Bush Haiti Fund programs, and $2.5 million to the Clinton Foundation. Okay, so this was. I gotta remember what I wanted to. I wanted to show you the financials. In 2010, the Clinton Bush Fund reported revenue of $94.8 million and expenses of $8.8 million. So its largest grants went to these different places. Okay, fine. In 2011, Clinton Bush Haiti Fund reported revenue of $1 million and expenses of $15.5 million, and made grants to these other partners. And then in 2012, they reported $300,000 in revenue and $20.7 in expenses. So you see how the expenses kept going up? So even though they are 90% is in the Clinton Foundation administratively, the fund is being rated and rated handsomely.
yeah. So how money laundering works there.
That's how money laundering works there. So let me just see what's the chat in the chat. Oh, hi, Mastermind. Thanks for joining. Yeah, Clinton money is full of dirty coattails. Coattails? I think she meant coattails.
Seems like she maybe got it, put it the way she meant it. But
yeah.
The chat's a bit dry today, or I don't know, a little slower.
That's because everybody's on Twitter, and I tried to say hello, comrades, on Twitter. I didn't get a bite, so I guess they're just watching, and that's fine. That's fine as long as you're learning something, and because the whole point of this is when the propaganda hits you, because somebody's gonna hit you with some propaganda. We are all informed enough where we can hopefully teach someone something, or at least get them to thinking for themselves so they could go in a different direction. So that's the whole point of this expose. So we're not going to. We're okay. We're okay with you just sitting back and listening.
We'll at least put our own effort into doing some critical thinking, and you can see how it goes for us and see if you can learn something. So
Right. So let me get back to This heifer. That wasn't nice. Wasn't nice at all.
Bought a 6-foot portrait of Donald. I mean, who does that? It just was astonishing. But when it comes to Haiti, Haiti is the poorest country in our hemisphere. The earthquake and the hurricanes, it has devastated Haiti. Bill and I have been involved in trying to help Haiti for many years. The Clinton Foundation raised $30 million to help Haiti after the catastrophic earthquake and all of the terrible problems the people there had. We've done things to help small businesses, agriculture, and so much else. And we're going to keep working to help Haiti because it's an important part of the American
They don't want you to help.
experience.
I'm humbly asking every pro-Trump patriot watching this video
Here
to
we
please
go.
chip in just $5 to my father's
That's the
campaign
advert there.
before the end of month deadline.
Is that the end of that? Yeah, cool.
Oh, that was the end. Okay, sorry. So we all know that Trump has his own corruption stuff going on. So I didn't even want to get into that. But she said they'd helped Haiti for many years. Oh, well, I did want to say my concern is people still idolize the Clintons and the Obamas. And like they're working across the aisle in corruption with the Republicans is ridiculous to me. But I guess it didn't matter because Bush's reputation is being desanitized, and whitewashed. So
Well,
I guess it's okay.
Isn't it sad that it takes someone like Donald Trump saying those things on that particular stage for this particular group of people that listens to someone like him to actually take that kind of an allegation seriously? Because we've on the left been saying that kind of stuff all day long, every day, and people just think that we're biased when we say it, but then Trump's bias is the one that they like to hear. And that, isn't it sad that the Clinton supporters will hear someone like Trump say something like that, and because Trump's so bad, they'll dismiss what he's saying because it's blue team versus red team. So
Exactly. I mean, he says the part out loud that you weren't supposed to say, and that's why they can't stand him. It doesn't mean he actually cares. It just means he doesn't know how to shut his damn mouth.
yeah, he's still supporting Israel to the hilt or whatever. Like his son said something the other day about beachfront property in Palestine, right? So, like, pick your poison.
Nope, I'm not picking it. Like CJ said, I don't want to be poisoned and die in 3 days, or if it takes 2 weeks. I prefer not to be poisoned. So
I choose medicine. I choose life.
I choose life. But I just found it interesting how she was saying how they helped, Haiti for many years, although their fund dissolved after 2. And that's the scam, right? Like the same thing. The scam is that the fund gets all the money and they tout the foundation, which may do only 10% overhead, but the fund that holds the actual money is the true administrative expense that's being recorded. I mean, the same thing happened with Oprah Winfrey. She did that with the Maui scam. I think it was called the Save Maui Fund, but then you look under the hood and that money is funneled through that fund, but it's being held by I think it was the Entertainment Industry Foundation. And I was looking for someone on the TikTok that knew nonprofit taxes that could kind of break down the Clintons' taxes for their foundation, but I couldn't find it. But there was someone who did that for the Maui Fund, and it was just like astronomical the amount of money the administrative team was getting paid. It's like all the money was being funneled to them, and we're going to see that coming up because she mentioned agriculture, so we're going to talk about that too.
Well, speaking of Oprah, that's kind of funny because this looking into Haiti reminded me of a story I'd heard about Oprah a while ago, a couple of years ago. You remember this guy named John of God or João Teixeira de Faria? I don't know how to pronounce the Spanish, but He's a guy from Brazil. Oprah was caught supporting as like a spiritual enlightenment guru guy. Like, send your kids to this, send your friends and family to this this guy's retreat, this vacation in Brazil or whatever, and you'll magically be cured from your depression or whatever it is. And then it turns out he was like a massive like sexual abuser or whatever, and he's been in prison for like sentenced to like 63 years in prison for abusing like hundreds or if not thousands of women and girls, kind of thing. And this is Oprah was fully endorsing this man, right? And then gets caught because, of course, Oprah was lawyer, got the same kind of lawyers as Bijou, right? Bijou. Nothing that these people can do will ever taint their character somehow, according to the law, because they
Yes.
didn't, right?
Yes,
They-
and that speaks to like all the child trafficking that was happening at her schools in Africa. They talk about child trafficking in Haiti. We're going to get into that a little bit, but before, let's get a good laugh. So, hi, Dr. Nick Riviera. He says, "Bro, he's from Brazil.
Yeah, I could
It's
show you an article.
Portuguese. Jeebus. You got to do better than that, Gringo." All right, comrade. We're working. We're trying.
Did you want me to share something next, or you got something still?
Well, let me just look. I wanted to. You can, but I want to get into the reconstruction. I want to get into the details of the money, where all the money went from the houses being built, humanitarian aid, as well as the so-called agricultural support that the Clintons provided. So we could take a break from that a little bit if you
Let's
want
do
to.
that, and then when you cover that, then we can move to the orphanage. I wanted to talk about the orphanages and then the child trafficking. So since we brought it
Okay.
up, we can move to that next. So.
Okay, perfect. All right, y'all, let's go.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hit the like button and share and the subscribe and all the fun stuff. You know, I don't never really like saying this. Feels like advertising stuff I've always been opposed to. But please, like us, share us.
But you kind of have to because of the algorithm. So like we have to remind people of that. And so we're not pandering, right? If we were pandering, we'd be funneling them into the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. And definitely do that. So my screen stopped sharing. So let me get back to that. And here we go. So this is about the reconstruction efforts in 5 years after the earthquake. So this is an article from 2015. Let me zoom in for you guys so you can see. So the earthquake killed an estimated 230,000 people. It displaced about 2 million more. So that's a number to remember. 2 million more destroyed homes, roads, and other buildings. In addition to the relief efforts, the United States pledged over $1 billion for reconstruction projects. Okay, so that's our tax dollars. We want to know how our tax dollars are being spent, correct? Oh, I'm sorry, I should have said this is the U.S. Government Accountability Office. Like that really means a thing because the Pentagon Accountability Office, they lose money all the time and nobody cares. Oh, so after the earthquake, Haiti faced a housing shortage, and the U.S. Agency of Independent Development Program planned to build 15,000. Now, 2 million people are displaced. So 15,000, okay. However, we found that the program initially underestimated housing costs. Moreover, the costs later increased as the U.S. aid accommodated a Haitian government request for larger houses and flush toilets. All right. So after costs at the first two construction sites had increased by 433%, per plot and 193% per house. Who did you hire
This is the
to
logic of
build
capitalism, or the illogic. You know?
I would get fired if I had numbers like this at my job. I wouldn't even be able to pay. Like I wouldn't even be able to swipe my badge the next day. So anyway, as a result, the program decreased the project number of houses to be built by more than 80%. So it's 2 million that are displaced, 15,000 houses to be built. Nah, we're just gonna do about 2,600. Call it a day.
Oh, but look at those nice painted colors. Those are lovely. Those three that you get to share between 2 million.
Right, between 2 million people. And when you go to New Orleans, just side note, and you see how all the houses are painted, the way they are, very colorful. You see where we get that from. That is definitely from Haitian influence, colorful homes and shotgun homes too. So I just wanted to give that little side note. And well, they did do something. So, in addition to housing, the U.S. aid also worked to rebuild a power plant and a port. Okay, the power plant was completed in providing power. Now, how much you want to bet that got done? Because the companies, the Western companies, needed power so they can continue to steal resources from Haitian land. So, of course, that's going to get done. Okay, moving on. The start of the construction of the planned port was delayed by more than 2 years, in part because U.S. aid hadn't filled its port engineer position. Don't need one. The agency tried to fill the position in 2011, but 2 years later, the position was still empty. Sure. Moreover, U.S. aid funding wasn't enough to cover a majority of the projected cost of the planned port, uh, which was estimated at $115 million over the initial estimate. So, according to the State Department, they just withdrew the plan.
Yeah. Well, this
So,
is what seems to happen when they know that they just need to kind of promise that they're going to do something for people, electoral reasons. People are listening at that point, and then they know that no one's listening to hear the other side of the story when they don't follow through, and the project doesn't even happen. So.
right, and you'll see that. Hopefully, we'll get to it also with the donations. Like there was a clause in the donations where, oh, you could donate and then you could back out if you wanted to. So it's just to make everything look flowery and pretty, and show all the celebrities that donated money, and then afterwards they're like, yeah, I'd rather not. I'd rather spend my money on that private jet, or I want to buy another house in another city.
Yeah,
So I'll just keep my money.
Don't let anyone let you feel bad if you decide I don't want to risk donating to some charities I can't trust or whatever. They say, what are you doing to help them or whatever? Well, we're not helping like the enemies. That's what we're by giving the funding to the wrong people. That helps
Because
peace.
our
We
tax
help
money
with
is supposed to be funding that.
Like you don't have to always have money. Isn't always the best way to help people. Although, if we can find a place to donate that you can trust for Haiti, please do so. I can't do that. I don't have any money. But
Okay, and then I wanted to talk. I think this is what I was just mentioning. So let's get into it. So, as far as humanitarian aid is concerned, the Red Cross. Um, so, Bill Clinton, who in 2009 was named the UN Special Envoy to Haiti, that's going to come up a few times, y'all. So, remember that. He was assigned the task of coordinating the efforts for the humanitarian aid. All right, so I'm just going to get kind of past some of these things. Trying to remember what I wanted to share. Okay, so this is it. A UN donor conference in New York City in late March generated pledges of 9.9 billion, with 5.3 billion to be used during the first 2 years of reconstruction efforts. The bulk of the sum put forth by the United States and European Union. That donor conference, it was held by the Clintons and Bellarive, I believe is how you pronounce his name. So Bellarive is, he was the Haitian Prime Minister, Jean-Max Bellarive. But I wanted you to notice, so they oversaw the dispersal of the aid. 2 years after the quake, several $1 million worth of pledges had been retracted by various donors, a move permissible within the guidelines of the donor conference. So that's basically what we were talking about. Everything, it feels good. You know, they're showing pictures of celebrities doing phone banks and all the money that was funneling in to these sham nonprofits. And half of it didn't even get there because they didn't really have the intention of sending it there anyway. The USGAO, I think I already spoke to this, which was responsible for managing 1.14 billion in funds allocated by Congress, had actually spent only a third of those monies. So what happened to the other monies? It's like we investigated ourselves and decided we did nothing wrong.
Went into that
Right?
black hole, you know?
Yep. And then one last one about humanitarian aid and in homes. So let me share that. How the Red Cross raised $500 million for Haiti and built 6 homes. You cannot make this up. I wasn't going to go into it because, I think a lot of people will remember this because this was a big scandal. So I wasn't really going to read much about it. I just wanted to show it because I remember this distinctly. I was very pissed off about this. Where did all that money go? And Obama was the main one telling everyone to donate to the Red Cross. So who was held accountable? I mean, by this time, no one will, but who would have been held accountable for this?
I thought there's supposed to be some kind of rules that financial like watchdogs and things that are supposed to prevent all of this from happening. You know, is like somebody got bribed or something? Does that ever happen?
It feels like the watchdogs just come out like later, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they totally didn't mess this up." Like, yeah, we're watching, but you watched 20 years later and figured it out. Like that's not a watchdog. Like
Is that who watches the watchers problem? I guess if we're not watching the watchdogs, then the watchdogs get lazy and fat or whatever.
Exactly. That's right. The watchdogs are eating, right? They're probably on the payroll to watch. We investigated ourselves and found that we did nothing wrong. I mean, it's kind of the same concept of not disclosing information like about Pfizer or the priesthoods and all that stuff until 60, 75 years later. It's just like the people who cared are all gone. Yeah, it looks like a scandal, but who cares? We're dealing with our own chaos in the current moment. So we don't have time to deal with that scandal.
It's part about normalizing everything and acting like it's unchangeable. It's part of that Christian mindset, actually, about how we're kind of, I think it might be a more Protestant thing, but this idea that we're naturally depraved people and we're just born to be sinners, and all we can do is hope to be, some of us, a little bit better for salvation or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the Red Cross, right? You know, that's the whole. We like to just normalize these. The cross means good people, right? So that's
and the blood, it's good people, and the blood of Jesus. They're covered by the blood of Jesus.
Yeah.
It's
and
red.
If you want to look at the historically, who's responsible for the majority of anti-Semitism, it's got to do I was doing a bit of a research project about like the Christians and Muslims in the Middle Ages and stuff, as far as slavery, and the Jews were treated better in the Muslim world. They had to pay a tax, but then they were kind of they weren't so much discriminated against. They were allowed to practice their their cultural practices and religions and stuff. But in the Christian world, they didn't pay a tax or whatever, but they were much more like vulnerable to all this atrocious treatment. It's like before white people were treating like black people as a kicking boy, it was the Jew, right, for the longest time. And this is actually really important when we're talking about a place like Haiti, to understand the Catholic influence on the development of the region, and with the development of Christianity and Zionism seem to have kind of like made peace or whatever. They're kind of on side now, where historically, actually, if you look into it, the Catholics were at first opposed to Zionism, and they seem to have made some sort of deal to work against the Muslims, sort of thing. So that's just my speculation there, but
You jump right on board. So now I'm gonna head to agriculture and how the Clintons had their hands in Haiti and their foot on their neck. Bill Clinton's invasion of Haiti in 1994. Oh, this man just and to think that he really portrayed himself as the first black president because he could play a saxophone and everybody fell for it. It's just disgusting. Okay. Since his invasion in 1994, Clinton has completely destroyed the structure of Haitian agriculture. In 1995, he forced the nation to drop tariffs on rice imported from America. Haiti dropped its import tariffs to rice from 50% to 3%. Clinton claimed this move would help Haiti jump into an industrial era. Yet, even before Clinton took this action, experts were well aware of the consequences. An export-driven trade and investment policy has the potential to relentlessly squeeze the domestic rice farmer. This farmer will be forced to adapt, or he or she will disappear. I mean, that's not rocket science. After adopting Clinton's policies, Haiti became the fourth largest importer of rice from the U.S. So you already have your own rice. You get subsidized for rice, and now you're letting the people that subsidize your rice import rice to you.
it's got nothing to do with treating rice like food. That's what happens when you just, what can I do with this object that can make me money?
Right. And the worst part is, okay, so even though they're the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and most of the imported rice came from Clinton's home state in Arkansas. Today, Haiti is the fifth largest importer of American rice in the world, even though their population is just 10 million. So I'm going to pass a lot of this up. Okay, to buy Haitian rice is $300 more expensive than to buy American rice to this day. Okay, so I just want to go down a little bit because
the only point of that is to destroy their domestic economy.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Who agreed to this? It had to be a puppet in place. I should have looked that up, but there haven't been many elected presidents in Haiti, so most likely it was a puppet. So hi, Bryce Smith. Glad to see you could make it.
Welcome. Thank you for watching.
Yes, stay balanced. It is wild. It gets wilder. Okay. So in 2011, this is where I am right here, an apology was officially issued by former U.S. President Bill Clinton, who is now the current, remember I said this, UN Special Envoy to Haiti. He publicly apologized for forcing Haiti to drop tariffs on imports, subsidized U.S. rice during his time in office. And now that Bill Clinton is UN Special Envoy to Haiti, does he plan to implement a program that will help Haiti's demolished agricultural system? Recognition of the problem is a good start, but major action needs to follow words for a real and meaningful change to take place. So, what do you guys think? Do you think he didn't just acknowledge the problem, but he rectified it? let's find out for ourselves. I bet you the truth is stranger than fiction. So I pulled up on the Economic Research Service report. Now, mind you, you see this is from February 2024. Okay. This was 1994. So you do the math, and I'm trying to remember what page it was on. Just a quick highlight of what's going on here. Okay. Let me see. I wrote it down so I'll know where to look. Page 8. Here it is. Let me make that bigger. Can you see that?
Yep.
Perfect. So milled rice, I'm right here. Milled rice exports remain forecasted at 54 million. I don't know what that means, but 17% above the year earlier abnormally low level. Northeast Asia is expected to remain the largest market for U.S. milled rice, taking exclusively medium, and short grain. Haiti is expected to remain the largest market for U.S. long grain milled rice, taking mostly long grain. So remain is still the largest importer of U.S. rice in 2024. So did he do anything to fix the problem? Well, you see the answer. The answer is hell to the no. And it gets even sinister. It gets even, my blood is starting to boil. Let me see if anybody said anything in the chat so I can calm myself down. Because is anybody familiar with mud cakes? Are you familiar with mud cakes?
Not quite sure what you mean. Are you talking about when people have to eat something, or when they don't have enough food, they eat mud or whatever? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I distinctly remember this when I was living in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina in 2000. I think it was like 6 to 9. I had to move because of the market crash. I just bought a house and then the market crash. Lucky me. But anyway, I would go to the food drive. The food bank. Sorry, to volunteer. And one day I went, and the task was to pack rice to send to Haiti. And the man is showing us the newspaper articles about how they have to eat mud cakes for nutrition. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, ding, ding, ding. I said, didn't the Clintons subsidize their rice, which was their main export? And so now we're packing rice to send to them because they're eating mud cakes?
While being taught that what you're doing is helping.
good.
Like I'm saying,
Yes.
with donating money, right? Like, but when you know exactly what, like you just said or whatever, then it's horrific looking at the rice in your hand, I'm sure, right? Like holy fuck, like this is very surreal now that it's like right in your face like that.
Right in my face, yeah. I don't know how to feel. Like, I was so angry. But then it's like, what do? Do you leave or do you pack the rice because they need rice? Like, what am I
Yeah, this
supposed to do?
is exactly it. Where it's, I guess I'll do the thing that I know is kind of wrong because it
Right.
sort of helps in a small way. But this is kind of the logic that's got us all trapped, where it's like the paradox we got to figure out. Somebody, like,
Yeah. So I wanted to show you how insidious this gets. Okay, this article is more than 15 years ago. Okay.
staple diet.
Yeah.
That means they're eating it regularly.
So I was so more than 15 years ago. So President Rene Preval was president from early 1996 to 2001, and then again in mid 2006 to mid 2011. So doing the math, this article came out during his first presidency. And he was a puppet. So this is what Clinton are doing to their agricultural opportunities. They're making these people eat
This is
mud
why
cakes.
what Traore in, I think he's Burkina Faso, was saying food sovereignty is important.
Mhm.
This is why, right?
Right, right. So they're kind of explaining what the nutrition they get from it. Um, it's just super disgusting. Um, I just can't even. I'm just gonna go to the next one because this even gets even more vile. Look at the headline: "Mud cake, a delicacy made with mud in poverty-stricken Haiti." So I can't even read this foolishness, but I'm gonna read the ingredients. Um, a mix of special type of mud with salt, margarine, and water. The locals call it galat, and it's believed to have minerals and medicinal purposes. So it's believed to keep them alive with minerals. Now,
Well, that's what they do. They, because the situation is desperate and they got to convince them to eat it somehow, or you might have a riot on your hands. You gotta tell them some kind of religious quackery, like supernatural powers,
right.
right?
So and let's just think of the word delicacy. I'm going to put this back up just so people just can visualize this headline and how atrocious this is.
And they put the quotations on the mud cake instead of the delicacy. So it seems like are they trying on purpose to be rude? Because it seems like they're trying to poke them in the eye. Like,
I'm just going to make it big for emphasis, okay? And then the word, oh, I made it too big, didn't I? I'll fix that. I just want to give you the definition of delicacy just so we can, because words matter, okay? Delicacy means, I wrote it down, um, it's a rare food item that is considered highly desirable, sophisticated, or peculiarly,
peculiarly,
maybe
that one's so hard.
peculiarly, yeah. Oh, okay. I spelled it wrong. Let me start over. A
I've been spelling
delicacy
bad
is
lately, too.
when you don't use it, words start looking weird when you write it down. But anyway, a delicacy is a rare food item that is considered highly desirable, sophisticated, peculiarly distinctive within a given culture or region. A delicacy may have an unusual flavor or be expensive compared to everyday foods. Delicacies vary across countries, customs, and ages. So, by that definition, let's just go with it. Mud isn't rare. Eating mud isn't highly desirable, nor is it sophisticated. Oh, I got a little commercial thing coming. Okay. The only thing that makes eating mud particularly distinctive in that region is that colonialism created the conditions to cause that distinction in that region. Mud isn't expensive compared to everyday foods, and literally, the only thing that could make this word have anything to do with the word delicacy in that definition that I read is that it may have an unusual flavor. But none of us would know that because we haven't been dehumanized and reduced to having to eat mud.
And the only other group that currently comes to mind that's being forced to do this is Palestinians. I'm not sure if it was mud cakes or something else. I was pretty sure it was mud cakes, but because the food drop or whatever is they're using the food drops as a way to attack them and stuff, and they're letting in like 1% of what's necessary. This is it's tragic. It's ridiculous. You'd think that it'd be enough to wake the legal people and that are supposed to say what a genocide is up, and those kinds of people are supposed to do something. The UN and those kinds of people. You'd think that. Although I did hear the U.S. supposedly calls for a ceasefire now after vetoing it. So I guess we gotta stop having faith in the wrong person. So Sean Miller says, "Yo,
Yeah.
welcome, Sean."
Hi, Sean. Glad you're here, and all our other comrades that are watching. The chat is so quiet today, but that's okay. You know, I used to. I think I mentioned this before. I used to cook while watching it on TV, so I was never in the chat. And then one day I just decided to jump in the chat, and I had so much fun. So now I don't just I cook and watch stuff that I don't really chat with, but I chat with my RBN family. So when I'm cooking, I watch other stuff and not RBN anymore. So
I
that's
used to
how
watch
I
YouTube
I fixed
for the
that.
longest time. For the longest time, I watched all these kinds of things without commenting. I'd read the comments in the chat while it was live, but you end up being a lurker for a while, and then you'd think, oh, I'd be a loser to talk on a chat on YouTube or whatever. I can't talk to real people or whatever. But it's actually, you should try it sometime or whatever. They're real people. They're not robots, right? They're interesting. They're cool. So thanks
Interesting
for being
people,
here, guys.
yes. And then
Yeah.
Michael, we found the culprit, JB. He's still live.
Wow,
So
Sabina
that's
doing
probably
marathon
why.
today. That's okay. I'm just happy
That is
to be
okay.
here, and you can watch us later. And JB,
Right,
of
because
course.
we'll be watching
I
JB
also
later.
agree.
So
If I had to choose between watching us and JB, I might be watching JB too. So
hey,
we're good.
don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, it would be a tough choice.
Sean. Had to finish JB. Now back for you, love. Oh, that's so sweet. Yes,
Yeah,
blame JB. You guys are too
we
sweet.
have been going a bit for a while now. Should I try and finish off what I was going to cover, and then we see if we're going to wrap up, or got anything? We can
Can I
keep
just say,
going too if you want to do an extra long show.
yeah,
But,
I mean, because this is so near and dear to me, Michael. So if you didn't mind
yeah,
staying a little
I got
longer.
time. Yeah, I got time.
Okay, I love that. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna add myself back to stage. Remember when I was talking about? I'll just show you again the disaster of Bill Clinton. Okay, I just want to read this one part so you can kind of understand from a policy standpoint what was done to Haiti. So let's read this part together. In the book, I'm right here. Okay. In the book Planet of the Slums, urban theorist Mike Davis points to Haiti, along with Mexico, as countries where the vast expansion of the slum population has been the result of cheap food imports, check, free trade agreements, NAFTA, check, and structural adjustment programs, which made with the U.S. So these agreements wiped out the structure of local agriculture and resulted in peasants relocating to the slums. So I wanted to give you guys an idea of what it means when they say structural adjustment programs. Okay, what are structural adjustment programs? So a structural adjustment is a set of economic reforms. Is that big enough? That a country must adhere to in order to secure a loan from the International Monetary Fund. See, I wanted to cover this because I know you were going to speak a little bit about this, Michael. So I wanted to give them a little background information on how you qualify to get a loan from the International Monetary Fund and or the World Bank. And so these structural adjustments are often a set of economic policies, including reducing government spending, opening to free trade, and so on. So these structure, I don't know why this is highlighted, but all of these are requirements. So the structural adjustment programs have demanded that borrowing countries introduce broadly free market systems, coupled with, so a free market system only works when you are on top. Like a third world country is not going to benefit from a free market system.
Not to mention, there's just really no such thing. It's just this figment of an imagination, kind of.
Right. And they're not going to benefit from free trade. So the countries have been required to perform some combination of the following: devaluing their currencies to reduce balance of payment deficits, cutting public sector employment, subsidies, and other spending to reduce budget deficits, privatizing state-owned enterprises, and deregulating state-controlled industries. You see this capitalism creeping up here? Easing regulations in order to attract investment by foreign businesses. So capitalization, now exploitation, and then closing tax loopholes. Yeah, right. And improving tax collection domestically. Yeah, right. We don't close our tax loopholes, so I don't believe that for 1 minute unless they're talking about closing it on the actual working class people, the taxpayers. Yeah. So I did want to just show that and make that known, so we have an understanding of what these economic hitmen do.
Right. They take something like an earthquake and they turn it into an opportunity, right? It's like they're catching someone who's who needs help or whatever. Catch someone like stuck in a well, right? And you I'll help you out there. If I'll throw you a rope, or if I get to keep your house, like that kind of deal. that's what people keep saying. Like you got to go to the IMF when you're in trouble. Like people don't recognize you can't give advice to go to the con man to fix the problem. Simple.
I'm glad you just said that. You don't go get advice from the con man to fix the problem. Okay, so with you saying that, I wanted to go back to Conan O'Brien. Remember when we began with his coverage of Haiti and Conan with his coverage of Haiti and how he was it was basically just a Trump hating campaign, and he really doesn't give a shit about the Haitian people. So when I passed over all of his, talking to the Haitian community, which was basically, how do you feel about Trump calling your country a shithole country, and this about Trump and that about Trump. He didn't really care about what was going on with the people, but he did talk to some kids, and I got to show you this.
As I was leaving the school, I was suddenly surrounded by my very curious classmates.
What's that? Who's that? What did she ask?
She's asking me who's the president of
Who's the president of the United States now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is awkward. His name is Donald Trump. Who's heard of Donald Trump? Can you translate? Donald Trump was on television.
Donald Trump était on télévision.
And then a bunch of grown-ups got drunk.
Et puis un pile grand monde sous.
And they made him president.
Et puis on fait le président.
Yeah. And this man, this crazy man with crazy hair, he became president. That's why I'm moving to Haiti. My wife says I'm crazy. Do you think that she's
Madame
right?
Did he move to Haiti?
No.
You don't think I'm crazy?
You m'appelles fou?
No.
Oh. Ask the president the same question.
He asked you what did Trump say about Haiti?
Trump? What did Trump say about Haiti?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I'm not gonna.
She said, "Keep it."
What'd she say?
She said, "Don't say him no."
Trump comes out and saying, "Don't worry about it." What do you know that we don't know? Kids are fascinated with my freckles, aren't they? That's if they've seen freckles before.
Est-ce que nous voyons pour montrer qu'on ça déjà?
No.
You like them? The freckles don't come off, by the way. They stay off.
Oui.
Ooh, she telling it.
They're so smart when they're so young.
Americans need to help Haiti put things back. Is that right?
You never take our stuff.
I'm not going to take your stuff. I'm not going to take your
Diz ele
stuff.
para cá,
Can I say something? I think you have.
Damn right, not
This
gonna
is your
take
next president. Right
Me-
here.
me lo que es Daisha,
She is
me-
the
me-
president.
Daisha.
Okay, so the irony is you did take our stuff. You're taking our stuff right now because you're being disingenuous. You're taking our feel good stories and passing them off to other people so they don't really have to look behind the curtain. So
Yeah.
you are taking something from us right now, Conan
He's in the
O'Brien.
process of trying to use those kids for his own purposes, and I gotta love those parents for teaching. I'm sure that kid wasn't the only one in the crowd there who would be saying that kind of stuff, where they're not letting their kids be duped by this white man coming in acting like their buddy or whatever. Like, good for them.
Right. Right. And then why did they use this weird? Because Conan has orange hair, Trump has orange hair. You know, the whole thing was about Trump being a bad man, and they never once said anything about what Clinton has done to Haiti. I did want to
Or what
say
Biden could do. He's the one in power. Aren't you supposed to pressure the one who's got the authority to do something?
this was
But yeah, that was a video from before.
yeah, I think there was an election cycle. So Bad Cookie says Abby said they were going to bring their A game today. Well, I hope I am, Bad Cookies. I better be. 'Cause
Yeah,
I can't do my island dirty.
That
Cannot
Cookie's
do
comment
dirty.
last week where made me go looking for some receipts or whatever. I'll always come prepared, right? I'll get over prepared though.
Yeah, Bryce. They did seem to be roasting him a little bit. It was kind of funny. Yep, using kids for dumb stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go ahead and go because someone rung my doorbell, and so I'm gonna check on that and I'll be back. Okay.
All right.
Oh wait, I have to acknowledge this. Thank you, Tosmit. I appreciate you. You're so sweet. Everybody in the chat is so sweet. Okay.
So speaking of kids, I was getting ready to talk about this next article here. So 30,000 Haitian kids live in private orphanages. Officials want to shutter them and reunite families. So we were talking about the Clinton Foundation, and we're kind of having a focus on the private charities as a solution to poverty and disaster is not a solution. It's often a cover for the very problem itself. So not going to read everything here, but so roughly 30,000 children out of some 4 million nationwide live in about 750 orphanages across Haiti, according to government figures. Many were built after the devastating 2010 earthquake that killed at least 200,000 people. In the months that followed, the number of orphanages in Haiti skyrocketed by 150%, leading to an increase in trafficking, forced labor, and abuse. A 2018 report by Haiti's Institute of Social Welfare and Research and others found that just 35 of 754 orphanages, less than 5%, met minimum standards and were allowed to operate. Meanwhile, 580 orphanages received the lowest score, meaning the government should order them closed. Whether or not they're going to be closed is a whole different matter, because damned if you do, damned if you don't, apparently, in this situation. So in response to the report, Haiti's government has banned construction of new orphanages and shut down existing ones, but closing orphanages can be dangerous. Government officials have been threatened or forced to go into hiding as owners seek to keep generous donations flowing from abroad. U.S. faith-based donors are the largest funders of orphanages in Haiti, according to Lumos. a nonprofit that works to reunite children in orphanages worldwide with their families. There is no group or association that speaks on behalf of orphanages in Haiti, since the vast majority are individually owned. Homes are a necessity for children whose parents cannot feed them or protect them from violence, said Sister Paisy, who founded religious organization Kizito Family in Port-au-Prince. It houses and offers free schooling to some 2,000 children from impoverished slums. So this is sort of like what my criticism of like my own government, Canada. If you are on side with destroying the lives of children in Palestine, in Haiti, I don't really feel like I can comfortably behave as if my government has my own kids' interest at heart, or the children of Canada. So I feel it's very important for me to point out when Canada's on the wrong side of history, right? So this Kizito family, I wanted to kind of do a little bit of expose on, I guess you could say. So this is the Kizito family website. You can see how nice and wholesome and professional looking it is. I just wanted to quickly scroll down to here where we've got the support, the funders of the website. So I didn't really go into looking into every backer, but I noticed this name Raoul Foulereau, and I wanted to just take a look on a hunch to see if there was anything concerning about who the funders of these Christian charities are, taking care of these kids and claiming that they're being very innocent and wholesome and wonderful about it. This Raoul Foulereau, I gotta translate back to English here. So let me there we go. Raoul Foulereau, born on August 17th, 1903 at Nevers, died 1977, was a French journalist. He's a creator of the World Day to Fight Against Leprosy and founder of the work known today in France as Raoul Foulereau Foundation, which fights leprosy and poverty and promotes access to education. Sounds very awesome, right? But let's just scroll down a little bit. Let's see if I lost my highlights. I might have to re-highlight it. But I was thinking that this was something that should be pointed out. If you have a problem with Mussolini like I do, then you wouldn't want to be supporting a charity that gets its money from a man who was a diehard, like lifelong supporter of this kind of thing. So, sorry, I should preface with this one or whatever here. I don't know what happened to my highlights or whatever, but Raoul Foulereau founded in October 1929 a League of the Latin Union, whose objective is to unite and federate the Latin elites for the defense and the glory of their civilization. In 1938, the League changed its objective. It would then be a question of defending Christian civilization against all paganisms and all barbarities. First essentially cultural, the League is politicized over time in a context of polarization of society and destabilization of international relations. So Pierre Guillaume writes about the League of the Latin Union. Raoul Foulereau was also a witness very committed to the intellectual and political history of his time. It is in Mauritanian, convinced that he created before the war the League of the Latin Union, whose monthly expresses an unambiguous sympathy for Salazar of Portugal as for Mussolini of Italy. In October 1935, when Italy from Benito Mussolini invades Ethiopia, Foulereau co-signs it, Manifest of French Intellectuals for the Defense of the West and Peace in Europe, who takes up the cause for Italy and is one of the speakers at the end of November 1935 of a meeting which opposes the sanctions of the League of Nations against Italy. So this guy was a fascist who supported Mussolini's invasion of Ethiopia, okay, and then he creates this foundation, the Raoul Foulereau Foundation, which is still alive today, okay, and you see it's still having an effect. And so I feel like I don't this is speculation on my part. I don't have a smoking gun, but I'm pretty sure that that's a fascist organization, Christo-fascist organization that is probably involved in what I would say child trafficking. If the police could investigate them, which is never going to happen. So, yeah, Abby, you come back there. Welcome back. You're muted.
Thank you. Yep, glad to be back. And it was just my mom. She sometimes she has a hard time getting in the house. Sometimes it's not a problem.
Right. Okay. That's
So
good.
before you go on, Michael, I just want to say now I'm not going back to this comment because I'm vain that I'm so beautiful. But Sean Miller says, Michael, you're not bad looking yourself. Just thought you might feel left out. Love to the both of you. Yeah, Michael, you're easy on
work on. Thank you. I don't.
You
I don't
are
need
easy on the eyes.
Thank you. I don't know if I consider myself good looking, or I shouldn't think of myself as ugly, I guess is what I should work on the self-esteem, right? So I appreciate grateful for your comments, you guys. You know, it's
Well, we all have I distracted you, sorry. We all have
no, I mean it's Sean. But anyway.
Sean, he's blushing.
You got me there.
We all have traits that other people would find unattractive and someone else would find absolutely gorgeous. So it really doesn't matter. It's all perspective, isn't it?
Yep. So thanks for that lighthearted breaks, a little bit of levity from this heavy topic.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
let's just return to it here and finish the articles so that we kind of feel like we've accomplished what we are here for. So this is from a website called globalcenturion.org. Just kind of popped up when I was looking first thing. So, but it says, prior to the earthquake, Haiti has been a country of origin for both labor and sex trafficking. There are 3 serious forms of human trafficking in Haiti. First, the Restavek phenomenon, in which children are at high risk for both labor trafficking and sexual exploitations, child sex tourism, and child sex trafficking. Second, persons compelled by economic pressures to emigrate to the Dominican Republic in search of work. Many of the Haitians working in the Bataillés, the sugar plantations of the Dominican Republic, are trapped in conditions of slavery. If they escape the Bataillés, they are often employed in the Dominican construction sector, a sector where Haitians are very proficient, according to research by the Fondation Espoir. Third, and perhaps the greatest concern, is the cross-migration of children from Haiti into the Dominican Republic and from the DR into Haiti for the purpose of sexual exploitation. Haitian children are exploited in the prosperous tourist and resort industries of the Dominican coasts, and the Dominican children are internally trafficked Haitian children are exploited in brothels catering to UN peacekeepers and other foreign nationals. 2002 IOM UNICEF study found that annually more than 2,000 children, mainly from 3 geographical departments, are trafficked to the Dominican Republic. Many of them are exploited for the purposes of both labor and commercial sex. There is also anecdotal evidence of the sale of children by orphanages, either into illegal and potentially exploitative adoptions or more gruesomely for organ retrieval or child prostitution. So did we played that CNN, or have we hadn't played that? There's a CNN clip.
I can play it really quickly. You want me to cue it up?
Okay. I guess now would probably be a good time, since it's
sure
brought it up in the article
okay.
there. So yeah.
All right. So here we go.
Well, let me talk about the children.
Yeah.
The children, tens of thousands of them, maybe hundreds of thousands, have been separated from their families, many of them. Families dead, families lost, families moved out. What is being done to corral these children, to register them, to make sure no further harm comes to them?
It's one of the biggest problems that we have. And this morning, during the coordination meeting with the international community, I addressed the question of the adoption, because I have a lot of petition for that. But they have to be very prudent, because there is a lot of cautious, because there is a lot of traffic in that those kind
You
of
mean illegal child trafficking?
yeah, even if it's it seems to be legal, but a lot of organizations, they come and they say there were children on the street, we are going to bring them to the States, and we have already reports of a lot of trafficking, even of organ trafficking.
Of organ trafficking? Now
Already.
of the victims of the earthquake?
Yeah. So
do you know that for sure?
yeah, I know that for sure, and it was discussed in Montreal during the conference.
And do you know for sure that children are being trafficked now?
There is children trafficking for children and adult person also, because they need all type of organs. So
No, but I mean live children. Are they being trafficked now?
the report I received.
So I also kind of wanted to point the finger in the direction of Israel a little bit when it comes to the child trafficking. Well, not just Israel, but the Dominican Republic.
Lifetime.
Yeah, that's okay.
It may affect entire community.
Okay, there we go.
All right, cool. So the previous article I showed was showing how the Dominican Republic is sort of party to this. If we're going to talk about Haiti and the problem, what's the solution? You can't really have that conversation without talking about the Dominican Republic. So let me share this one. We've got sanctioned businessmen from Haiti run business operations in the Dominican Republic. So you can sanction their operations in Haiti, but if the Dominican Republic is kind of not treated, is got a double standard as far as treatment, then we're kind of leaving the door wide open for people like Biggio to continue to get away with all the crimes that we're supposed to be holding them accountable to. And then I will share this tab here. It says, Ambassador of Israel in the Dominican Republic, this country is a gift from God that makes tourists fall in love. Nothing is missing. And we just heard how the Dominican Republic is implicated as the destination for a lot of this child sex trade, exploitation, organ trafficking. And I don't know if anyone's heard any of the stories about organ harvesting happening in Israel with Palestinians. So I wonder there's a market for that, an international market. It's not like the organs are necessary and the children are staying on the island. I would imagine that they're being shipped off somewhere. And I would speculate that Israel is potentially one of those places. Okay. The Dominican Republic and Israel have historically had close ties, because when neither country was willing to accept more Jewish refugees fleeing Nazism or set conditions, the Dominican Republic was the only state that offered to do so. And if I share this tab, you will see the one who took in the Jews into the Dominican Republic at that time was the dictator, General Rafael Trujillo, is the one who resettled up to 100,000 Jewish refugees. And in comparison, Haiti only resettled a small 300 number of Jews during World War II. And nowadays, there's only 25 of them from what the information, the public information suggests. And so those 25 Jews left in Haiti are overwhelmingly disproportionately wealthy. So then I would say, if you look back into it, are these actually families that are the ones connected to the slave trade and stuff? And then that's a historical endeavor that I'll leave up to a historian. But there was something else I wanted to briefly. I'll share this tab too, just to kind of cap it off. The report says human traffickers not being prosecuted in Israel. So according to a Justice Ministry report in 2021, only one indictment was filed for trafficking in Israel, and the number of trafficking victims recognized by the state continues to drop. And on top of this, I don't have the receipt, but there's also a high number of known pedophiles to be making use of the right, I think it's called aliyah, the right of return, to avoid prosecution if they go back to Israel. So there seems to be a very much of a network going on here. And then when we add in the Jeffrey Epstein situation, I think we've got enough circumstantial evidence to move forward with the case, right? But what's happening with this? You don't hear about that. So where are you, legal people who are supposed to do something about this stuff? Just saying, okay? Anyway.
Man, I was like looking far and wide. Sometimes I come across stuff and I'm not in a position to like write it down, like get the link, figure out where it came from, what have you. And I'm like, I'll go look it up later. But the person who started that rumor about Cherizier, that's his name, Jimmy Cherizier. Like someone followed his who he is associated with, and he was like either related to or really good friends with. I don't know how you say her name. Something Maxwell, Epstein's girlfriend.
Ghislaine Maxwell, yeah.
Ghislaine? Oh, okay. It's spelled kind of weird. So
Ghislaine,
yeah. Ghislaine Maxwell. So, when you followed where he came from, oh, you're like a Zionist pedo. And you're
and he's a Mossad agent, right? It's like
you're a Mossad agent.
All the worst things you could be wrapped into one.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna. Do you want to show some more stuff? Thank you so much, Sean, and thank you for sticking in here with us. Sean says, "Thank you for this. Your work will be appreciated." I really hope so. And I wanted to move. I had even more about the resources in Haiti, but everybody knows that Haiti's resource rich. They know we have. There's iridium. There's gold. There's too many things to name. That's something that could be easily looked up. So I wanted to just kind of now get into Cherizier. So
yeah. The last thing I would
just say,
Cherizier. Just to tie off with a bow, what I was just talking about with the child trafficking stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you weren't talking.
Bijou. It's okay. I could just share it real quick. Whatever. This billionaire Bijou in Haiti we're talking about. I just wanted to talk about how he is I don't know if anyone knows, but he is the honorary consul of Israel. So that's the whole thing about how could Haiti possibly have a connection with Israel, right? And then,
well, I know he's like the de facto ambassador for the 25 Jews that live in Haiti. They counted. They were like it's like 25 of them.
Right.
And he's supposed to be their spokesperson or whatever. That's why he's there. Like, really?
Yeah.
I don't think that's why you're here, bro.
It says there is also the few Jews left are scattered among the staff of the U.S. and French embassies in Port-au-Prince. And then he said, on the contrary, the Haitians have a lot of respect for the Jews and a lot of admiration for Israel. He declines to discuss politics. Our principle, which we respect daily, is to not mix in Haitian politics. Even after 3 generations were considered foreigners, he says, right? It's like, but when you believe them at face value, like you just let them tell you that, like you just let them do the worst things to you, and you just can't, like, have some critical thinking, please. Like, anyway.
Right, please.
Yeah.
Please. I wanted to. So everyone already saw Dom Lucre, who is someone out there spreading falseness about Cherizier. And I just wanted to show this person as well. Look out for this person. Their name is Jetri Dumont. So just like with anybody, they're going to find someone who's desperate and, oh, this is their name right here, desperate and will say whatever needs to be said to discredit a movement. It happens all the time. All skin folk ain't kinfolk, and all Jews aren't Zionists. But I found this Dan Cohen follow the money with this guy, and he's show this one first.
Yeah, I was listening to a Twitter space with Dan Cohen and Danny Shaw the other
Yeah.
night, and if like as much as we're trying to provide some information, like we're kind of the amateurs and those guys are the experts, so I'd give it a recommendation to tune into. If you haven't heard of Danny Shaw or Dan Cohen, those are the two Daniels to listen to when it comes to Haiti. So
Stop selling yourself short.
sorry,
We're speak for yourself. No, I mean, he's learning stuff just like us. He just went on the ground in Haiti and did a documentary about it and stuff like that. And he does journalism for a living, but so yeah, I guess he is somewhat of an expert, but we're all
I guess
experts in
I
our
put it
own
that way.
little way.
It's like I'm getting my info from them, so it's a little bit like if you got a problem with what I'm saying, take it up with them.
So he's basically showing where this guy, his ties are from, which is Aibo Post, which is those human rights awareness groups that are actually working for the other side for not human rights. So I just wanted to show that, and I'm going to put in the description Dan post his documentary. I'm going to put a link in the description for all those who want to watch it. Oh, I guess he is an expert. He's from Gray Zone. Gray Zone is pretty they're pretty versed on what they're talking about over there.
Yeah, they're kind of like our gold standard for independent journalism. So.
And a Midwest mark. So,
yep.
What's up, comrade? All right, so I did want to show an expert. Her name is Shamina Pierre, and she it's kind of long, it's 9 minutes, but it is well worth it. Because she's kind of talking about she's giving more of a history, and then we could like close it out with listening to Cherizier's words yourself to see what he's really trying to do for the people, as opposed to what the smear campaign of how they're trying to portray him. So let's watch a little bit of that. Well, I want to kind of watch the whole thing, but here we go.
These are paramilitary forces. I think gangs is an insufficient name for them because a lot of them are former military and former police officers, and they're heavily armed. What's happening is a bunch of different groups coming together to say, and they call themselves now Vivre Ensemble, which is live together. A bunch of different various armed young groups, young men in groups to say that they want to get rid of Ariel Henry. Now, we hear that there are negotiations happening around the clock, and apparently there's supposed to be negotiations going on today, I think in Jamaica or by the CARICOM countries that include the US, France, and Canada. The problem, though, is the fact that there are all these negotiations going on outside of Haiti by many foreigners with no main participation from the Haitian masses. And I think, we have to go back and understand that the root of this crisis is not last week, it's not this week, it's not.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Okay, I need to do a little backstory. Okay, the lady who can I get out of this? Let's see. Where I got this from, this lady here, Sapphire, She's saying she remembers the events of 20 years ago. And we've been throwing out a lot of information, so I just want to remind people of what's happening here. So Sapphire is referring to the 2004 coup d'etat. So that's the exile of Aristide. We talked about him prior. He was the elected president that pushed back on France for repayment of the insult of paying France reparations for losing their enslaved Africans. Okay, so this was the president who pushed back on the European leaders to give back land that they stole from them to set up foreign companies on Haitian soil. And then those companies that siphon Haitian resources out of the Haitian groups for Western profits. So that is like where we're kind of starting, where she's starting from, like almost like you can't start at October 7th. You gotta go back to the beginning and catch people up so they'll actually have an understanding and empathize with these people who are fighting back. So just kind of listen and recognize the themes that's being played out by the West, and all the people that benefit from it. So all of NATO, and so not just the bullies of NATO, right? All of NATO is just as guilty, equally complicit. So I just wanted to catch you up on that before we got too far in the weeds of this. Okay, so thank you for your patience. Okay.
These are paramilitary forces. I think gangs is an insufficient name for them because a lot of them are former military and former police officers, and they're heavily armed. What's happening is a bunch of different groups coming together to say, and they call themselves now Vivre Ensemble, which is live together. A bunch of different various armed young groups, young men in groups, to say that they want to get rid of Ariel Henry. Now, we hear that there are negotiations happening around the clock, and apparently there's supposed to be negotiations going on today, I think in Jamaica or by the CARICOM countries that include the US, France, and Canada. The problem, though, is the fact that there are all these negotiations going on outside of Haiti by many foreigners with no main participation from the Haitian masses. And I think, we have to go back and understand that the root of this crisis is not last week, it's not this week, it's not even Ariel Henry, but we have to go back to 2004.
So take us on that journey back. If you'll give us the historical context. In your piece, it's headlined Haiti as Empire's Laboratory. In it, you write, Haiti has been and continues to be the main laboratory for U.S. imperial machinations in the region and throughout the world. Explain.
Yes, definitely. We say the crisis in Haiti is a crisis of imperialism. In 2004, as has been revealed and admitted to, the US, France, and Canada got together and backed a coup d'etat against the country's first democratically elected president, Jean-Bertrand Aristide. And the US Marines flew into his home, put him on a plane with his security officials, his wife, and aide, and flew them to the Central African Republic. And people can actually go to the Democracy Now! Archives, which covered this live. And I remember listening to this happening live. And the point of this was that this coup d'etat, which was led by two permanent members of the UN Security Council, was then sanctioned by the UN when these same two members of the UN Security Council, and that's US and France, basically pushed the UN Security Council into sending a multinational military force to Haiti, armed under Chapter 7 deployment. And that itself was illegal because the original coup d'etat was illegal. The US ambassador to Haiti and the deputy ambassador were in the process. They're the ones that named who the interim president would be, put together a council of sages that basically restructured Haiti's elected president. And back then we had 7,000 elected officials. Today we have 0. And over time, I say Haiti has been under occupation because it is this military occupation, the minister occupation.
I don't know what that noise is. Do you hear that?
No.
Oh, so that's just me.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Sorry.
Okay.
That went from 2004 to 2007, that established the core group. That it's an unelected group of Western officials, including Brazil, which led the military arm of the occupation in 2004 under Lula, which led then, which has been controlling all the actions in Haiti, down to naming who the prime minister would be, Ariel Henry, after the assassination of Jovenel Moïse. I have to quickly say, though, one of the key things that happened is in 2010, after the earthquake in Haiti that killed hundreds of thousands, where the U.S. pushed the sitting president, René Preval, to have elections.
Oh, okay. So let me stop because it's a lot, right? Oh,
Yeah.
toss me heard it. Okay, I'm not crazy. Okay, thank you. Okay, so when she says armed groups, she could just say groups, right? So they're calling for the resignation of Prime Minister Ariel Henry. He's a puppet. He was never elected, is what she's saying. So, like so many other Western-backed installed puppets, so now Haiti is considered to be under a state of emergency because when he left, I think he was going to Kenya or something. Then all this uprising happened. Hey, the citizens saw this as an opportunity, and they took it. And so now the United Nations officials are warning, that there's the country's health system is nearing collapse and they need to step in, which is of course what they do. That is, why they push fear into our minds so Western interference looks more palatable to us, right? And as long as with that Western intervention, i.e. interference, along with that comes, resources being controlled, and more suffering for the Haitian people.
Yeah.
But they spoon feed it to us like they're helping with the chaos. Okay, so Ariel Henry, he was appointed prime minister like after the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I think he's in Puerto. He was stranded in Kenya when all this happened.
Yeah. He's not back in Haiti yet or whatever. And I thought that he had said he might be stepping down, but I don't think he's actually done so yet. And this is part of where they're saying that things are escalating in Haiti, but then if you got to double fact check them a little bit, like when they say that things are escalating, does that mean that things are getting worse for the Haitian people or worse for the imperialists losing control? Because if the last I looked at the last massacre that happened was like a month ago, and it was like a prison break, and the people who died were like prison guards and police officers. So kind of like the resistance is fighting a class war, and instead of, when you hear a massacre, you assume like it's just the civilians that are being massacred, right? But you wouldn't, when Hamas fights the IDF, we're kind of consider them casualties of war. We don't really use the word massacre so much. So the way that they're using language matters.
Right, exactly. That prison outbreak that one of Cherizier's right hand men, he was a prisoner of war, and I had a video of him and what he was saying. And they were talking about, helping the people. And it's a video of them, the people, like hundreds and hundreds of people behind them, and they walked from village to village to village, and all the people were so excited to see them. So, yeah, okay, some guards died, but are those guards on the right side of history? Because looks like the people that got let out and the way they spoke and what they were talking about was about freeing their people from colonialism. So,
right, yeah,
I don't know.
Not like I'm trying to celebrate anyone's death, right? We condemn all violence in the world, but things happen for a reason. We can put it that way.
Mm-hmm. To choose between the gangs or intervention is not a choice at all. Correct. I know who I'm choosing. And then it's the language. Gangs, thugs, deplorables,
Cannibal.
cannibals. Anytime Western media is vilifying someone, then you know you need to take a second look. Take a second look for sure. All right,
Yeah.
so let me go back to her because she gives really good information. I know it's a lot of information. That's why I try to stop it and kind of like reiterate or at least
Break it up a bit.
give a little, break it down or something. So thank you for those words, Michael. So it's just like October 7th, allegedly all the people that died there were ITF personnel. Exactly. Allegedly. In my Wendy Williams voice.
Yeah. False flags kind of things, but
Mm-hmm. So many. Okay, so let's keep going.
And in the WikiLeaks papers revealed to us later that Hillary Clinton actually flew to Haiti and changed the election results, where Michel Martelly of the PHTK political party did not make the first round, but the U.S. forced the Haitian Election Council to actually put him in the second round. And so establishing the PHTK.
Now, this I did not know. This was like a shocker to me, but not really a shocker, but the fact that it's I don't even know why I was shocked. Maybe it's just that I didn't know it, and maybe it just gave back it brought back feelings of the DNC with Bernie and Clinton. So it really wasn't shock, it was just more like that bitch.
you can still be surprised sometimes, even when you think you've seen it all, right?
Okay, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was more like PTSD or something.
Yeah, maybe.
So let me just press forward a little bit. She's just giving details about that, but we've all seen that go down. This part.
The CIA's fingerprints are all over their elections and
over it.
suspicious deaths and stuff. Like, it's not just the president that was assassinated. There's also like activists that have been important, like journalists and stuff. I haven't looked into this, but I'm sure there's a slew of dead bodies that are worth talking about. So.
I'm glad you mentioned that. There was something in the chat that I wanted to highlight, but we just got we went on to something else. But someone mentioned something about when the CIA and I think FBI was formed. It was like something that happened in Haiti that coincided with it. So I can't remember who said it and the details, but it's in the chat, guys. All right, so let me keep going.
Understand what's going on in Haiti, we have to understand how the original moment of the 2004 coup d'etat led us to the complete destruction of the Haitian state. And if we don't do that, we don't understand these current flare-ups where people are saying they want their democracy back and saying that whatever negotiations that are happening outside of Haiti has nothing to do with them because it has not included them.
When we went to...
I just want to say, you see how she could barely finish that?
Yeah, it's like,
Oh
well,
my
I was
God.
thinking when she said that, like, if you want an easy slam dunk for we stand for democracy, why don't you actually fix the solution, create the solution for the problem in Haiti there? And then people would see how you brought democracy or allowed them to have their own democracy, and then you would actually get votes. But I guess it's not about democracy, so it's...
Yeah, I mean, I could feel her pain. She could barely finish her statement, and from trying to hold back tears,
Yeah.
and I could feel her anger. So like remember in 2009 how President Clinton was named the UN Special Envoy to Haiti. So he was already doing damage, you know, then. But then after the earthquake, he saw even more opportunity, and proposed that suggested was that multifaceted plan for recovery and stability. Um, and as part of the economic plan for Haiti, Clinton began getting investors interested in his program for Haitian recovery. And then you fast forward here, and just this past week or two ago, Caribbean leaders held an emergency meeting in Jamaica to discuss the crisis in Haiti. There were no Haitian leaders at the table.
Yeah.
So, and you think there were Caribbean leaders at the table? They held the meeting to make it sound good to us. There was nobody at that table but colonizers.
Yeah. Well, I had an article from a Canadian journalist called Yves Angler. He's kind of like my anti-imperialist go-to for news stories, whatever. But he's saying there was a meeting in Brazil, talking about a Kenyan-led force organized by Washington for Haiti. Right? It's like the meeting in Brazil talking about sending Kenyan police organized by Washington and Canada for Haiti without Haitians present at the meeting. Like that's in a nutshell describes the Western attempts at a solution, right?
Right. So it was Rondo who made that comment. He said it was about 1947, the National Security Act, and the formation of the CIA and the NSA correlating to the debt payments. Okay. So see how we're all learning? We're all experts in our own little way. So now I have to go look that up for myself, and learn more about that.
Yeah, that's interesting because we were saying that they finished paying off the debt, the CIA is formed, the Nakba happens like within 2 years. Just suspicious, just a little bit.
Just a little sus. Rondo says Clintons were brokering deals for harvesting organs, allegedly. In my Wendy Williams voice, allegedly. I don't do a very good Wendy Williams. All right. It's getting heavy. I just want to.
We're finishing that video. I got that Cherizier video we close out with, but
Okay, yeah, because I want people to hear him for themselves. And then, like I said, I'll put that documentary. I'm gonna put it in the description because that documentary was actually filmed in 2021. It came out in 2022. So this is 2024. So these are things he was saying, 4 years ago, what have you. When Dan Cohen, when his existence came to light for Dan Cohen. So it's not like his humanitarian work began with the documentary, with the filming of the documentary, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and finish this video, and then we'll just close out with Cherizier himself. Cherizier, sorry. My French is bad.
The Central African Republic in a small plane with U.S. Congress member Maxine Waters and the late founder of TransAfrica, Randall Robinson, and a Jamaican MP. We flew to the Central African Republic. They went to retrieve the Aristides who'd been put there by the United States. And as we were flying back over the Atlantic, they got word from that Rumsfeld, Condoleezza Rice, and Colin Powell were saying that the Aristides were not to return to this hemisphere were not to return to Haiti, to which Randall Robinson replied, "Whose hemisphere?" And so he was not able to land in Haiti and went into exile in South Africa, where you have also taught for many years, for over 7 years. And then we went to South Africa when he finally returned to Haiti, and people can see all of those reports at democracynow.org. But I'm wondering, I wanted to talk about the latest news, the Miami Herald reporting that Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke by phone Thursday with Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry in a series of calls that officials described as tense. This is the U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller speaking Wednesday about the violence in Haiti.
As the situation on the ground grows increasingly dire, we in CARICOM have continued to call on stakeholders, including the Prime Minister, to make concessions in the interest of the Haitian people. So we are not calling on him or pushing for him.
Wait a minute. I just have to say something about that. You know how CJ always talks about body language, how he catches people? So so it's making me like look a little harder. And so you see how he's like, like that cough to me was, he couldn't even get the lie out without gagging on the words in the interest of the Haitian people.
I don't know how some of these people say, or like how they say what they're saying, like without their voice shaking and stuff. Like I tried to be saying things in public or whatever. It's a little bit easier somehow on YouTube or whatever, but you try saying stuff in front of actual people with cameras and stuff. It's not easy for everybody. So.
Well, I mean, I'm talking, it's not easy to lie in people's faces.
So it's hard enough as it is, but then when you're going to do this lying is like what I'm saying.
And the lie sounds so blatantly like people know what you're doing. We're not stupid. I mean, I think it's getting harder and harder for them. But I'm going to back it up a little bit just so you can hear it again. Because really, the interest is with the stakeholders. So let's see. The interest lies with what the stakeholders want. So let's hear it again. And then I'll let it just keep going.
Ground grows increasingly dire. We in CARICOM have continued to call on stakeholders, including the Prime Minister. We are not calling on him or pushing for him to resign, but we are urging him to expedite the transition to an empowered and inclusive governance structure that will move with urgency to help the country prepare for a multinational security support mission to address the security situation and pave the way for free and fair elections.
But Jacqueline Charles, the Miami Herald reporter, said that the U.S. was pushing Ariel Henry to resign. What do you understand, Professor Pierre, about the latest? And also even where he is. Is he still in Puerto Rico, unable to get back to Haiti?
Yeah, he's in Puerto Rico under FBI's protection. He had to leave the hotel he was in when he first landed because Haitian people living in Puerto Rico were protesting his presence in the state, and so that's important. You know, the U.S. government is being extremely hypocritical here because in 2004, when the U.S. Marines landed at Aristide's house, put him on a plane and told the world that he resigned before the plane even landed in Central African Republic, and basically put in power a whole new government. And now they're saying that this unelected prime minister that they put in place refuses to resign, where he actually has no legitimacy and no mandate whatsoever. I also want to say quickly, just to touch back to the question earlier, is the reason I say Haiti's a laboratory, because this is the first coup d'etat that was sanctioned by the UN, and Haiti was ruled by a multilateral coalition of all these countries. And so the UN occupation of Haiti through MINUSTAH and through the core group is multinational, multiracial, and it almost seems as if this is a humanitarian effort as opposed to a coup d'etat that has been successful. And so the whole world is participating in the occupation of Haiti unwittingly.
Oh, that was so powerful. The whole world is participating in the occupation of Haiti unwittingly. We think we're doing something. It's almost like the rice that I was packing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's like that's like the way that the imperialism seems to work. Like how it becomes so effective. It's the same thing. So many parallels with Palestine there, where until you've really done any kind of looking into the situation, you can be supporting Israeli companies without realizing. You just buy your hummus at the grocery store or whatever, right? But you learn a little bit of how much blood's on the hands of the average person, and it's like, wow, how does this get this way? And it's just got to do with, I didn't do anything wrong. I just went to the store and bought my food and came back. How could I have done anything wrong? And it's like, well, we've been talking about these corporations have been controlling everything, and that's not a good thing. And then when you just dismiss, oh, that doesn't matter. Well, what can I do about that? It's like, if you don't stop feeding this beast, it's going to get so big, it's going to eat whoever and whatever it wants.
Well, okay, so then you look at the monopolies of corporations. They're now holding companies that have so many corporations underneath them. Like if I wanted to boycott Nestle, what is that water company? Is that Nestle? Because they're like stealing water in the
Sony,
aquifers in California. Then
Yes.
I'd have to boycott dog food, cat food. Like the list is
They've got
various
us, right?
candies. It's
And
like, how
cornered
do you
everywhere.
know?
Yeah. So it's like you boycott Israel and you end up supporting whatever Ukrainian instead. Like, if you're not supporting one dictator, you're supporting another, whether you know it or not, because they've got every control over every market or whatever. So
Right.
yeah.
Rondo, so we have to figure that out. And I think mutual aid is in divesting, in farming.
It is a massive problem with not an easy solution, because you can't be super anti-capitalist about it. We're all going to stop using money tomorrow. That's going
Right.
to create as many more problems than it solves. So it's.
So Rondo says, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm
No, I
sorry.
was just
Go
saying
ahead."
you can't just business as usual. That's all I was going to say.
I'm going to go back to this comment. I was watching Chris Hedges, and he had a really good idea of like weaning ourselves off of capitalism, as in starting more companies that are, like B corporations that are employee owned. And as you start more employee owned corporations, start pushing the other ones out until, it becomes a more socialist
In theory,
community.
right?
In theory.
I think of the drug addict as an analogy, where I'm gonna wean myself off a little bit. I'll just use a little less tonight. But then, how are you gonna resist the urge when it comes to use a little more next time? It's like,
Yeah, so it's like either that or burn it all down and start over.
yeah, you go cold turkey. It doesn't really seem to also work as far as rehabilitation. So we're trying to quit capitalism. Do you quit it cold turkey, or do you wean yourself off? I think you got to wean off a bit.
Well, I think educating people is where you start. Like this is where we start.
Right.
So we're doing our part. So I'm going to go back to the Rondo Ellsworth comment. He says they use the UN for that exact reason, diffusion of responsibilities. Yes, and we had so much information that I couldn't even get to the UN part, but they a lot of times this is what was said allegedly, that they're like mercenaries that are dressed as UN, so they look like they're there to help, but they're not. They're actually there to steal resources. like push people away from this piece of land and seize it for a corporation and stuff like that.
That's got to be real hard to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, I have that video, but we've been on so long. I could put it in the description. And Stay Balanced says, I'm concerned the deaths in Haiti will be similar to Palestine. Yes. Cherizier said that. He said, if they don't take off the stronghold of Haiti, it will be a genocide because they weren't going to give up.
I also heard him say, if they take out, basically, if they take him out, and the other guy will show in the interview, there will be another barbecue somewhere down the line. Like they're not getting away with killing the like they can kill the revolutionary, they can't kill the revolution.
I was just thinking that. I am a revolutionary. Say it with me now. Revolutionary Blackout Network used to be the Fred Hampton Leftists. That's how I found the channel in the first place before they changed their name. So that's interesting that you said that. So we're gonna start piecing out. Is that correct, Michael?
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up. Yeah, we should say our final. Do we have any announcements?
Yeah, can we do it like up here so people can see our faces? Okay. Yeah, it is a long show today, Retro Gamer. I thank you guys for sticking in there with me, but it's near and dear to my heart. I mean, all the shows are, but this one very much in particular, being a Louisiana gal like myself. So yeah, I just wanted to say our normal stuff. Thank you to Revolutionary Blackout Network, Long Beach chapter, for the opportunity. We appreciate it. I'm starting my own channel, Abby Do, for those little rants that they won't be this long. It'll be like 10 minutes here, 50 minutes there, just so I can get stuff out of my chest because that is therapy for me. And hopefully it'll be therapy for you too. I did want to, so on a more fun note, how my glasses broke. Well, I found my other glasses and they're also broken. But I just wanted to show them. I thought they were really funky. These are my Run DMC glasses. They're also broken. Oh, on this side.
Abby from 5 years ago.
Nothing but broken glasses. Actually, no. I used to have like 4 or 5 pair. And then I just started breaking them all. So, I don't know. Now I'm down to nothing.
The styles from a decade ago or whatever, you kind of forget what people used to wear and stuff. Like,
oh yeah, I was trying to bring it back. I was like, oh, these are Run DMCs. So anyway, that was just to make it a little lighter because it's been so heavy.
Yeah. Well, what you gonna do? We're kind of just like going through the shit, all of us, right? So we can try and cover everything with positivity and just feel like we're escaping for a while, or we can try and deal with some stuff and then feel like we actually care because we do.
So I think we're doing the right thing. The people in the chat, in the comments, they're doing the right thing. They're staying informed. So when just for their own personal moral clarity, and also so when people come to them with the propaganda, they could push back nicely in a nice way. We're not going to take everybody with us, but let's take as many along as we can on this journey.
Okay, so I don't quite have any announcements or anything so much. You kind of covered it. Shout out to RBN and all the other independent media. Thanks to Dan Cohen and Danny Shaw and all those people for doing what they do. And I'll see you guys next week. Keep on keeping on. Peace. So, oh, sorry. There we go. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Je dis à nous venir dans ce là, nous visiter ensemble avec barbecue, en façon pour nous capables remonter le moral. Ensuite, pendant ce temps, chaque jour, il y a des gens qui parlent de 19 bagailles, juste chaque monde a une façon de raconter. Je dis, on a fait la route, on a visité tout endroit dans ce là avec la population, avec M. Jimmy Cherizier, avec Jimmy Cherizier. OK, on a visité, juste pour la population en soi. Pour que la paix sont la paix tout bon. C'est pas on la paix soi-disant, j'ai dit que la paix pas la paix réelle. Nous dit tout le monde dans le cadre de Haïti que bon Dieu lancé la en perpétuel son bagage symbolique.
Et bon, on vient de dire tout le là. J'entends tout dire là aujourd'hui et nous ensemble et Toto c'est porte-parole et Alexandre c'est porte-parole Belé et puis mélanger avec moi qui c'est président et porte-parole force révolutionnaire Genève en famille allié et tout. Je dis pas ni Genève, pas ni Belé, pas ni GPEP. Je dis à vivre ensemble et j'entends tout expliquer là. Nous devons s'appeler n'a pas prendre comme nous ensemble, comment nous faire pour nous capables vivre ensemble et que pour la vie carré prendre dans quartier nous. Je dis peut-être ça moi même à Toto. Nous ensemble pour montrer le monde entier la paix qui a dit qui sont la paix la paix qui Pierre Espérance t'a dit c'est ancien président Martin Lickfeld n'a montré le monde entier menti. Nous pas gagner pour nous à monde ça. Je dis à cette bataille n'a pas son bataille pays lié.
Bon, soi-disant n'importe où qui a dit ça c'est nous parle connaît la ghetto qui ça nous voulait, qui ça nous dit n'a pionner, n'a fait pionner changement pour tout le monde qui rentre là-dedans. Nous t'a remet tout pour tout haïtien conséquent pour nous faire une seule voix. Pour ne pas quitter force impérialiste, utiliser nous mal, j'ai utiliser nous déjà, nous dit non, ça va de fait. Il faut tout petit pays à net, mettre ensemble pour nous faire une seule voix, pour nous délivrer le pays dans le côté là. Et là, regardez, il a parlé de ces bagages, il dit, soi-disant, non, nèg c'est pas pour tort, c'est gens de monde qui utiliser, c'est bon soit pour tort. C'est-à-dire, l'autre parle de gars, à sa part, là, c'est pas à sa disant, c'est pas lui vraiment qui fait bagaille, c'est nèg qui soi-disant gay pour l'homme, on parle de Paul Lafito, on parle de tant d'autres encore, ouais, secteur privé, gain l'amène pour finir à payer, pour finir avec Haïti. Nous disons non, nous pas de ça. Nous pas jamais ça peut-être tout mettre ensemble pour nous sortir pays dans salle là. C'est pour ça nous commencer à caler nous commencer ouais clair pour nous goumer avec force fait noir.
Et j'en ai montré le monde entier. On appelle le monde entier ouais. Jean gouvernement haïtien ça menteur. Jean assassin criminel, il y a son menteur. Et je te propose de dire c'est parce que les balles qui tiré dans le quartier populaire qui fait que ils pas capable de faire développement. Je dis à tout le monde qui a constaté, nous avons plus passé 2 mois. Nous avons plus passé 2 mois depuis en deux quartiers populaires, pas de green balle qui tiré. Nous avons plus passé 2 mois. Côté Moun Belé, qui a descendu ce matin, côté Moun Belé, qui a venu Delma 2, Delma 4, Delma 6, Delma 8, Delma 10. Nous avons plus passé 2 mois. Depuis Moun Delma 6 a monté, Ritimas a monté sous Belé, pas jamais rien qui arrive pour aller en bas la ville à l'acheter. Là, ça c'est nous-mêmes des quartiers populaires qui prennent conscience et que nous disons, bon, on met tête nous ensemble pour ne pas quitter les petits nègres faire nous encore, pour nous garder comme nous sommes capables de délivrer le pays. Et peut-être ça, notre message, ça va être le monde entier. La paix, ça prend la paix.
Soit disant, il y a des gens qui disent tout, et sinon, on ne peut pas connaître tout. Il y a des gens qui disent tout, oui, la paix, ça c'est quoi nous qui la même. Nous disons tout le monde, non, nous ne pouvons pas faire vie nous dans le combat. Nous ne pouvons pas faire vie nous dans la bataille. C'est pour ça, bon Dieu, parler dans nous, avec maman perpétuelle, nous obligés de faire un table ronde pour tout petit pays à Kachita ensemble, pour nous parler, pour nous définir. Même pas contre personne monde soit disant bandit, si me dit au monde m'géra dit au monde bandit. Mais c'est l'état placé puis placé pour 4 jours. Moi c'est le deuxième bagarre. Ça vient arriver moi personnellement, m'était quand goumé face avec Cherizier nous fait goumé. Mais là on regarde le pas mener nous quel côté pas mener nulle part. Nous obligé font chita parler ensemble pour nous faire retardé. Regardez qui ça retardé. Nous obligé ouais côté nous veut aller côté nous veut. Qui est qui pas comprendre ça qu'a fait là. Qui est qui ignorer ça qu'a fait là. Mais un jour bon Dieu mettez à une réalité là. Nous pas besoin de faire l'autre moi encore. Nous pas besoin de faire l'autre mais ça c'est quoi. Nous obligé connecter nous penser à tête bien. Pour nous quatre tout monde qui mourir sous conscience. La façon l'idée utiliser nous. C'est des gens qui utiliser nous mais je ne dis nous personnellement tout le monde sort mourir nous pas qu'à remettre vie. La vie. Et puis ça nous font la vie c'est une pièce qui est importante toute bagaille dans le monde. Car là il doit casser mais vie on va continuer de remettre. Mais pendant ce temps nous font retarder, nous suivre, nous tendez l'autre monde qui a parlé dans zoé nous obligé rester nous dire non, nous pas pour. Si nous parlons de folie goumé, chaque temps nous garder tout le monde sortir mourir derrière nous pas pour parce que monde sortir dans goumé. Il y en a l'autre qui cause monde sortir mourir. Et pour ça on a continuer bataille, on a continuer là, fort Ariel Henry quitter pays.
Peuple dans la rue pour nous dire non avec abat occupation, abat toute force étrangère et que les arrivés pour États-Unis, la France, Canada, bah nous-mêmes haïtiens chance pour c'est nous qui décidons pour décider tête nous, pour décider pays nous. C'est peut-être ça en deux quartiers populaires aujourd'hui, vent conscience là, vent la paix a soufflé et ça quand commence à triompher. Goumé nous va pour faire bouge d'amis à virer côté où virer parce que nous va goumer contre oligarques, nous va goumer contre assassins qui dans le gouvernement et puis nous va goumer contre l'Occident qui pense le cabine imposer nous Ariel Henry qui sont sanguinaires, ont assassins qui participent dans le président Jovenel Moïse. Tout étranger qui a venu là, il a fait même Jean-Ministre fait en 2004, violer les garçons, Jean-Soldat Uruguayen a fait, violer les filles, violer les femmes. Il a fait même Jean-René Palais, il a voté choléra pour nous, côté 20 000 Haïtiens morts dans le choléra, plus passer 500 000 autres infectés. L'ONU connaît ça. L'ONU mène bon enquête, il connaît que c'est Népalais et qui quitté pour choléra. Qui ça fait? Il va jamais dédommager nous. Et ils refusent de reconnaître que c'est eux qui ont porté maladie en Haïti. Et si force étrangère est venue, si Ariel Henry est venu arrêter, nous sommes contents. Si force étrangère est venue et sécurité est mis pour qui permettre que les gens circulent pour la vie reprendre, nous sommes contents. Force étrangère est venue pour venir consolider pour voir oligarques. C'est pour ça qui contrôle 80% de la richesse paysan. Force étrangère est venue pour venir consolider Ariel Henry parce que qu'on a participé à l'assassinat de Jovenel Moïse. Et seule façon pour le parler devant la justice pour ne pas arrêter, c'est mener force étrangère à venir et puis pour le faire une élection pour y vider, pour le mettre les gens par le livret, à ce moment-là pour le parler pour sur la justice. Et pour être ça, dans le quartier populaire, au monde Bel-Air, Toto représente Bel-Air, moi représente force révolutionnaire, Genève, famille et Allemagne et tout. Et je dis, pas ni Genève, pas ni GPEP. Je dis à vivre ensemble. N'après une force étrangère, là, si on connaît, pour venir entrer dans le quartier populaire, pour venir faire massacre, venir tirer, venir massacrer les gens, venir faire Kadejak, laisse à nous-mêmes dans le quartier populaire qui est sans dessaline dans nous, n'a pas campé, n'a pas gommé jusqu'à dernier goût de sang nous.
Mais je ne dis nous-mêmes, nous parlons trop. Il faut nous proposer action dans le pays. Le peuple a souffert trop.
Plus nous diviser nous, c'est plus nous-mêmes y apprendre. Je dis, et nous-mêmes qui dans le quartier populaire, nous conscients. Nous conscients des situations et que le monde qui dans le quartier populaire a vécu. Nous conscients et que gommé ça, pendant plus de 4 à 5 ans, ne va mener nous aucun côté. Sinon que Kaï moun Bel-Air boulé, en pile moun mourir. Sinon que Kaï moun Delma 2, Delma 4, Delma 6, en pile Kaï boulé, en pile moun mourir. Et puis, moun qui soit disant, les têtes politiciens qui mettent nous dans gommé ça, ils même y a vivre.
Traditionnel yo.
Ils même y a circuler. Nous même nous pas vivre, nous même nous pas circuler. Ils juste mettre nous dans gommé entre nous pour capable consolider le pouvoir. Nous ça ça peut-être ensemble, ça symbolise bataille pour écraser système ça, bataille pour changer condition la vie nous. Et ça enlever le monde entier qu'on est. Pendant des années, les gens ont pratiqué politique exclusion ça. C'est politique exclusion ça que les pays à côté lié la journée aujourd'hui. Ils n'ont pas jamais mettre les gens qui acteurs, vrais acteurs, les gens qui dans le quartier populaire au Cap Souffle, pas jamais mettre sous table là. Mon équipe n'a chita dans Montana, mon équipe n'a chita à Washington, et puis ils ont décidé pour les gens qui vivent dans le quartier populaire. Je dis, c'est ça, c'est politique exclusion ça que mène nous là. Ça va passer. N'importe solution pour qu'il retire Haïti dans sa là, il doit inclure tout petit pays. Ça veut dire tout quartier populaire. Tout les qui gagne ça yo. Yo c'est haïtien même genre tout le monde. Yo gen mot par pour dire. Toto gen mot pour dire dans la décision qu'a prend dans pays. Jimmy Cherizier barbecue gen mot par pour dire dans décision qu'a prend dans pays. Si on groupe nek chita dans Montana, si on groupe nek chita Washington et puis nous décider nous venir avec une solution. Nous pensons nous parler pour ces peuples, c'est bien qu'on mal calculé. Nous avons retourné dans la même place de départ là, côté que peuple là a bon l'autre groupe qui venir même si toto pas là même si avec vous pas là, a bon l'autre groupe qui venir qui apprend les armes sont l'autre forme et qui venir qui dit non, système ça pas bon et qui a boumé contre lui. Pas de solution préfabriquée pour venir avec pour venir poser nous. Toute solution doit venir ensemble. Tout le monde est sous table. Tout le monde est sous table. Tout le monde village de Dieu, moun Assali, moun Saint-Martin, moun Cité Soleil, moun Waf Jérémie, moun Canaan, moun Croix des Bouquets, moun Croix des Missions, moun Tibois, moun Grand Ravine. L'autre, tout le monde met sous table et puis tout le monde vient à la revendication. Laisse ça, solution durable à venir et que nous sommes capables de dire pays après un développement. Mais moun Montana, moun Washington ne peuvent pas décider. Parce que je dis à Dieu, peuple à Calais, je dis à nous comprendre la réalité, c'est diviser nous en bas et même pour le carré en l'air.
you.